that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Let our rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Please remain standing for our national anthem. Thank you.
So we are just about ready for this season to get underway. Kennedy and Washburn under the lights. A Kennedy team that went 2-6 last year. Washburn 6-2, and they returned just about everybody. They returned quarterback Andrew Gotzeman. They returned their top 2 rushers, their top 2 receivers. Kennedy's trying to get fired up. A lot more new faces for Kennedy. We'll talk more about that as this game goes on. Great message from Kedrick Williams ahead of time, and we do want to note the beautiful voices of Maya Ortiz and Sophia Azmi delivering their rendition of Lift Every Voice before our national anthem. So a perfect way to start this 2020 campaign for Kennedy here at home. Jefferson also opening the season tonight. If you're interested in that game, we are carrying it through our feed. So check out BEC-TV.org. You can find that live feed, or on our Facebook page, facebook.com/BEC-TV. Washburn in the road white, Kennedy in the home navy with the blue and white trim. The Eagles losing 47-21 to Washburn in a game that was very close in terms of total yardage, but 4 Kennedy turnovers kind of told the story, and they gave up some big plays in the passing game to this Washburn team. As I mentioned, they are back with a lot of their key players from last year. Their head coach, Ryan Galindo. Kedrick Williams for Kennedy. David Aviles Rizzo to get this season started for Kennedy as Washburn will receive. And words we did not think we would say even up to just a few weeks ago, as the teams have not had much time to prepare, but we are ready to go. Football back at Bloomington Stadium in 2020 as this kickoff twists its way to the left and fumbled by Washburn, then scooped up. It's a short return to the 28-yard line. Well, Andrew Gotzeman, the signal caller for Washburn, what a year he had last year as a junior. 99 out of 174, that's a 57% completion percentage, 1,475 yards, 16 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. We mentioned Washburn returns its top 2 rushers, Jamar Nelson, 6 yards per carry, 430 yards and 8 touchdowns, and Ramon Lee Jr., 4 touchdowns, 200 yards per carry. We'll talk about the receiving core as well for Washburn, as they are also very experienced and potent. So Gottsman with his first pass in 2020, deep middle shot, and it was almost intercepted by one of Kennedy's top returners, the now sophomore Marquez Monroe, number 23. We saw him really come into his own as a freshman last year for Kennedy, and 23 is going to be that center fielder patrolling the back end for Kennedy all season long. So 2nd and 10 for the Millers. Fake the handoff, Gottsman under pressure trying to get to the edge, and Gottsman turns it upfield, showing you his athleticism as he slides in with a first down on a gain of 11 out to the 30, make it 12 to the 38-yard line. So the first Miller first down, Gottsman using his legs. Last year didn't do that a whole lot, just 35 carries for 47 yards. Some of that factors in with sacks. We mentioned those receivers for Washburn. Serval Miller, number 4, he's a senior now. Austin Carnicorn, number 13. And Jamarian Wheeler, number 7. Handoff outside zone play, and it's going to be tracked down by Dion Barber. The running back Mason Willie, who was not one of their top returning backs last year, but he gets the first running back carry of the year, and it'll go for a loss of a couple back to the 36-yard line. Watch Dion Barber, he's one of our players to watch for Kennedy, 34 in Navy. He can cover a lot of ground, and he makes the play there. Gottsman to throw all kinds of time. Winds up and fires deep and misses wide right of his intended target, Jamar Nelson. And it'll be 3rd down and long now as Gottsman starts 0 for 2. So big first 3rd down for Kennedy. We mentioned the players to watch for Kennedy. Dion Barber and also Christopher Martin, number 84. He's a defensive end. He's lined up on the right side of the line. Big guy, Martin. He's only a junior, 6'6", 245. He is going to terrorize, hopefully for Kennedy, opposing backfields all season. And he gets a chance here on a pretty obvious passing down as Gottsman over the middle, short completion. Nelson, what can he do after the catch? He's going to be short of the first down, but he got fairly close to it. About a yard and a half short, and an interesting decision now for Ryan Galindo. How aggressive will he be here on this first possession of the year? As that completion goes for a gain of 9. 4th down and no punting unit out. Washburn's going to go for it. This is where you'd normally get the crowd involved if you're Kennedy, but few and far between the fans this year. So 4th down, they'll hand it off, and it's going to be a first down. So Washburn keeps the opening possession alive. And it was Ramon Lee Jr. with his first carry of the year. He was the 2nd leading rusher last year. Gain of 4 there into Kennedy territory for the first time for the Millers. As they blocked that just well enough up front. Barber was in on the tackle. He's the middle linebacker this year for Kennedy. May see him on offense as well. A lot of new pieces, more on the offense than the defense for Kennedy. Gottsman fakes the pass, in trouble, and just chucks it to the ground, incomplete. He was outside of the pocket. Good pressure there by Kennedy, who has done pretty well on passing down so far. That's why those broken tackles, a couple of them by Jamar Nelson on that 9-yard completion, was important. If he was stopped right away, that would have only been about a 3 or 4-yard completion. That allowed them to go for it on 4th down. So another 2nd and long for the Millers. Gottsman takes the snap, looking middle, pass behind the intended target, Jamarian Wheeler, who had himself a game against Kennedy last year. 4 catches, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Serval Miller last year against Kennedy, 7 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. Miller number 4 in white. And now another 3rd and long as Gottsman is 1 of 5 here early. Lee in the backfield for Minneapolis. Washburn, as Gottsman takes the snap, has plenty of time, slings it deep, middle shot, almost intercepted by Marquez Monroe, who is perfectly positioned for Kennedy, and 4th down coming up. And what will Washburn do here? Gottsman heads out. It appears this will be a punt. Watch Marquez Monroe. There he is already in your screen. You can kind of get his vantage point on this play as he sees the eyes of Gottsman look over to his right, and good instincts by the sophomore as he was able to get over there. And if that ball would have been more on target, it probably would have been picked. So we think a punt here for the Millers, and it's a pretty good one that Kennedy will let bounce, and it takes a nice Kennedy hop into the end zone for a touchback. Amirian Hanspard, by the way, was the return man for Kennedy, who is likely to see that role on kickoffs as well, and he's going to be one of the top receivers for Kennedy now as a senior. So the Eagle offense for the first time. And it's Jesse Falk, who played some quarterback last year. He's going to get the start here for Kennedy, the senior, 5'11", 180. Very good athlete, Jesse. And behind him is Mawada Sherwood Jr., the diminutive running back at 5'6" at 165. Hanspard in motion. And the give to Sherwood up the middle. Well blocked by that Eagle offensive line, and a good surge. Kennedy ran the ball very effectively against Washburn last year. 39 attempts, 215 yards as a team, 5.5 per carry. If they can do that again this game and don't commit those 4 turnovers that they did last year, they're going to have a very good chance in this one. Sherwood mostly used as a wide receiver last year for Kennedy, picks up 6 yards on his first carry of 2020. In fact, Sherwood only had 19 rushing attempts last year for the Eagles. So 2nd and 10. Fake the run, no handoff as they fake the run. Falk, stiff arm to the outside. Here's the athleticism of Falk as he's barreling near midfield all the way to the 43-yard line on a scamper of 17 yards. Jesse Falk for Kennedy, very good ball fake as most of the Millers were fooled. And it's the first Eagle first down of 2020. You see Falk, the speed end, added a little bit of power this year. He looks a little bulked up from last year, now at 180, at least that's what they list him on the program. Sherwood backfield. In motion, Christopher Martin. Sherwood handoff left side. And makes his way across the gain of 2. Second carry for Mawada Sherwood. Let's get to our keys to the game. First key, make the easy plays. It's the first game of the year. Sometimes you don't need to try to do too much. Turnovers are going to be big. That's your second key. And then special teams. Both teams obviously have not had a lot of time to prepare. Special teams might be a little bit more of an afterthought than normal. Could factor in huge in this game. Second down, Sherwood stacked up. And we may see the first Kennedy pass of the year upcoming. 3rd and 8 for Kennedy. See some of the pieces for Kennedy. Newcomer Sade Alassani, number 25, is in there. You see Hanspard. Lavelle Miller, a guy returning last year, split out as a wide receiver as well. Then you've got Luke Dojan, number 85, a guy that we're familiar with on the hockey ice. Tall guy, 6'5", 210, another wideout this side. And Kennedy's gonna have to try to call a timeout. There was also a flag that flew. We'll see if they got the timeout in time. And they did not. It's the first Eagle penalty of the season on an illegal substitution. And we might see more penalties than normal here. Usually get a little bit more in the first game, but with even less time to prepare, going to be so important, the execution here tonight. So 3rd and 11 now for Kennedy. Falk takes a snap, they'll hand it off, and good running room. Going to be an Eagle first down. There is a flag down as all the way into Miller territory goes Alassani, but it might be coming back, and it will. It's a holding call on Kennedy. That wipes out a great run from Alassani. He's a youngster. He's just a sophomore, Sade. 5'8", 185 for Kennedy. And it sets up a really long 3rd down now as they will walk off this penalty.
Number 64 of the offense, 10-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down.
Holding call on Lumen Kamoji. He's a senior experienced guy back there for, or I should say up front for Kennedy. Number 64. So Kennedy yet to pass, but now an empty backfield and 5 wide receivers. In motion, Sherwood. Falk looking deep middle now, an out route into triple coverage, intercepted. Picked off by Tommy Hamel, and he's down at the 44-yard line, so the first pass of the season for Falk. Not one he's going to want to remember. He'll probably see it in the film study later in preparation for next week, as it is an interception. The first turnover of the game goes to the Millers. So now excellent field position, as you saw Lavelle Miller with that tackle. They did well to limit that return to only about 5 yards. But now it sets up Minneapolis Washburn in excellent field position, and Gottsman, after a 1-for-6 start, will get a chance to come back out. So we have a mandatory water break. We mentioned the unseasonably warm weather, 80 degrees here in the Twin Cities. It feels like that last week of September when we normally start games. So weather-wise, it's about where we usually are. It's just 5 or 6 weeks later than normal. You see some of the fans. It's a very sparse crowd. We expect our numbers to be up, so thank you for tuning in. Our viewership numbers, I should say. We've already seen that with our soccer coverage, which their regular season ended. And if you're a Kennedy fan, the Kennedy boys soccer team will have a home game on Monday in their first round of the playoffs. They're the number 3 seed in Section 2A. And we will have that game for you on BEC-TV. It's a 7 o'clock start, and we will be carrying that live, which is not normally what the Minnesota State High School League allows stations like us to do. But with the pandemic, they want to make sure everyone's safe and has an opportunity to watch playoff games live. So check out Kennedy Soccer in the playoffs, a home game Monday night. They'll be a heavy favorite as they're the 3 seed in a 15-team section. Our coverage will start at 7 o'clock on Monday, our next Kennedy broadcast. sports broadcast anyway. So Washburn, second possession, starts in Kennedy territory. Gotzeman will hand it off to Ramon Lee Jr. Nice move by Lee. Lowers his head and still on his feet. Ramon Lee showing you the power all the way to the 26-yard line, gain of 18. Watch Lee right here. Took on the battle and won. Also made a nice juke move on 27 Leighton Gabler, who's a senior linebacker for Kennedy, getting more playing time this year. Biggest play allowed from scrimmage so far for Kennedy. As now it's Jamar Nelson in the backfield on a 1st and 10 inside the Kennedy 30. Gotzeman in trouble, escapes, and then fires it way over the head of Mason Willie. Gotzeman now just 1 of 7. This is a guy last year that completed almost 60% of his passes with 16 touchdowns and just 3 picks, but been a little bit off target here in the season opener so far, although it's very early. See that Kennedy defensive line there. Lumen Kamoji going both ways. Jackson, Reichenberger, Cooper, part of that as well. Gotzeman slings this one on target. First down to Austin Carnicorn, who I know is one of their guys they want to take a bit of a step up this year. He caught only 7 passes last year. He's one of the starting receivers now, and he makes his first catch of this year, and it's good for 13 yards and a first down. So just the second completion for Gotzeman, but they're in the Kennedy red zone. Take the handoff, Nelson, Gotzeman rolls, and it was tipped, incomplete. Lavelle Miller showing you the ups. He's only 6'2", but he looked a lot higher than that as he jumped up to swat that Gotzeman pass away. Second down for Kennedy. That was well done as they had a couple players over there. Niall Dickel, a tight end, was seeming to be the target there. Miller, a linebacker, but he's kind of that rush end, and he did a nice job that time. Gotzeman checks the coaches, and the second down, handoff to Nelson. Kennedy trying to stretch this way out. Should be a holding penalty, and there's the flag as Kennedy certainly got grabbed. And Nelson didn't get much either, but Kennedy probably will accept this penalty. It will be the first on the Millers and should back them up 10. Christopher Martin also on that Kennedy defensive line, and Isaac Graham's another senior. So it's a very experienced crew up front for Kennedy, 3 seniors and a junior.
10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, and it remains second down.
Then you've got Lavelle Miller, Dion Barber at linebacker, 2 more experienced guys. It's a Kennedy defense, very experienced. So I mentioned a lot more turnover up front. We've also seen Leighton Gabler. He's the 3rd linebacker for Kennedy. Handoff, running room, Lee sneaks by a tackle. Lee picks up all the penalty yardage back and almost the first down. So not what Kennedy was looking for on a 2nd and 26 from the 27-yard line as Lee takes it all the way inside the 5. Gain of 22. Just followed his blockers. Finally taken down. Alasani helping. So now 3rd down. They can get a first down at about the 1.5-yard line. Gotzeman will hand it off. Nelson up the middle. Probably enough for the first down if he didn't get the touchdown, and it is going to be a Miller first down and goal with under 5 minutes left in the first quarter. So Washburn digging themselves out of a hole here on that 2nd and 26. Another look. As Christopher Martin helping push that back to make sure it wasn't a touchdown, but it's 1st and goal from the 1. They're actually going to surprise me. At first glance, it looked like a 1st down. They are going to measure. So hold off on the 1st and goal. The guys in the truck trusted me switching that graphic. This is very close, and they did not get it. It is 4th down. Very little doubt Washburn will go for it here, but at least Kennedy's forced the 4th down. And our truck all over that. Thanks for changing that so quickly, guys. They're in mid-season form already. Our crew led by Tom Ringdahl and Paul Fournier. So another 4th down for Kennedy. Washburn so far 1 for 1 on 4th downs. And they'll stay in the shotgun. Gottsman, high snap! Has to go back for it. Now looking end zone, and it's going to be a touchdown. Oh my goodness. What a job by Gottsman. On a high snap, picked it up, didn't panic, and it's Jamarian Wheeler for the touchdown. A backbreaker for Kennedy, because that ball could have bounced almost anywhere, but instead stayed right on course for Gottsman to scoop it up. And then unfortunately for Kennedy, as they were seeing disaster happen in the backfield, understandably so, they started flowing to the football, and Gottsman, that's a senior quarterback there, maintaining his composure, has his first touchdown of this year after 16 of them last year. Point after up, headed to the right, but it does tuck inside the upright for Owen Labens England, and it's 7-0 Washburn. So Gottsman now just 3 out of 10 for 24 yards. And the 1-yard touchdown there, first catch for Jamarian Wheeler. Kennedy oh so close to getting out of that unscathed. That ball kicks to the right or left. It would have been much more difficult for Gottsman, but instead, that ball bouncing straight back, right in line with Gottsman, not too far from him. He was able to scoop it up quickly. That would have been a break, certainly, for Kennedy. But credit Washburn, making the key 4th down, and really that drive set up by that 2nd and 26 run after the holding penalty. So now the Eagle offense will get their second crack at it. Labens England, sophomore kicker. Hanspard and Zaire Marshall, who we've seen at cornerback already for Kennedy, back deep to receive. And a line drive kick to Zaire Marshall. Fake the end around. Marshall showing you the Jets. Look out! Marshall is gone! Kickoff return touchdown for Kennedy! Zaire Marshall, the senior, with a house call, 90 yards. And the first Eagle touchdown of the year comes on special teams. One of our keys to the game, Kennedy executing. Let's see how much this fake handoff affected. You see a couple players for Washburn headed that way, and once they did, less defense over there to defend. The speedy Zaire Marshall goes untouched. We want to welcome in our good friend, our color guy, Daryl Moffitt. Daryl, welcome. You show up and Kennedy makes a house call on special teams. I'm glad you're here.
I'm telling you, like the kids say, I'm hot like fire. Ooh, go Eagles.
After that back-breaking near fumble on the high snap on 4th down, Kennedy bounces right back as the extra point is up and good. And we are tied at 7 apiece. One more look. What'd you see, Mr. Moffitt, on this kickoff return?
This is what you want from Kennedy. This has been missing from years. I talked to Coach Kedrick Williams. He said he wants to use this, especially in the first couple of weeks. They got athletes that they can use in space. This is what you're going to see in the future for the Kennedy Eagles, the ability to be able to take that thing to the house. I like the jersey. These guys look, I tell you what, just looking down, I'm up in the booth now, guys have been working. You can tell, you can see their arms, you can see their bodies. They don't look tired. There's been some work going on, so I don't know how they're doing it in this day and age with things being switched up, but Josh, man, they look good.
Yeah, we've already seen some good line play for Kennedy. And so they had an unfortunate holding call on their first offensive possession, which kind of threw everything off kilter. But a good one here. Remember, Darryl, it was Kennedy last year out rushing Washburn, and that 47-21 loss was very deceiving because of all the turnovers, and hopefully Kennedy can shore that up here tonight.
Yep, but there was also some good ball control on both sides of the ball. Washburn had the ability to throw the ball in the intermediate areas, which moved the change. Kennedy probably will need to secure the inside lanes on the run lanes because I think they're going to try to run the ball here tonight.
Avilis Rizzo, by the way, the Kennedy kicker on that extra point and this kickoff. Good return, Washburn. Not quite the distance, but it sets up the Millers with pretty good field position near the 40. It's been kind of a rocky start for Andrew Gotzeman. He was so effective last year against Kennedy, but so far today, just 3 out of 10.
Gotzeman last year, 15 of 27 in this game. He was 55% completion rating. He doesn't look so comfortable. And when I talked to Coach Kedrick Williams, he said we're going to do things a little bit different. We want to rile him up. We want to put some pressure on him. We don't want him to be able to sit back there and just read coverage. So far, so good for the Kennedy Eagles. They just got to get guys on the ground.
And we've mentioned we've talked about their defense. It's a pretty experienced defense, especially up front in the D line. You got 3 seniors and a junior, and that junior, Christopher Martin, was a full-time starter last year. So Gotzeman now, 11th pass upcoming, whips it deep middle, and what a catch! It's a Washburn touchdown for Jamarian Wheeler, as he scored now for the 4th time in the last 2 years against Kennedy.
That was a dart. Got behind the coverage, as you see right here, the replay. Being able to take a read step, looking off the safety. It's one-on-one here between him and the corner. Drops that thing in for a touchdown. That's a way to answer.
Pretty good coverage by Amarian Hanspard.
Yeah, that was not bad coverage at all.
As shaky as Gotzeman has looked on some of those shorter throws here in this game, he's almost had 2 picked off by Marcus Monroe. That one, as you mentioned, couldn't have been better placed.
You also got to give credit, as we see the kick here.
It is good.
You also got to give credit to the wide receiver. He does not get close to the sideline. He stays on the numbers. That's a sign of good coaching. He stays close to those numbers, giving the quarterback the ability to drop that thing in the bucket.
Jamarian Wheeler. And we're seeing that already. Catches have been in the end zone.
This is a high-powered offense. You got so many different weapons that could be used. You know, you see later in the season, right now, this beginning part of the season where teams want to find their identity. It's not really too hard for Washburn when they return so many guys that are so high-powered.
Well, we haven't even seen Servell Miller yet in the game for Washburn. I'm not sure if he's available or not. He's their leading receiver from last year. But other guys are obviously stepping up. Let's see if Kennedy can do it again. Hanspard and Marshall back deep.
You usually see a lot of mistakes in special teams at the beginning of the season. You add on to the fact that there wasn't much of actually there wasn't any preseason, no scrimmage, no opportunity. So a lot of teams are trying to figure out who they are right now. You might see a lot of mistakes in the special teams area here tonight.
Nabins England to kick off. Shallow kick, trying to keep it away from the dangerous guys. It does take a bounce to Hanspard. Amarian turns on the Jets, but this one is better covered by the Millers, and he's only able to take it to the 22.
That's some pretty good coverage. You saw Kennedy do a little bit of different things, not really running straight at guys, blocking. The Millers wanting to keep the ball in the air so that their coverage can get down there faster. Good job by Kennedy just to receive it, get as many yards as possible, get on the ground, no turnovers, give your offense a chance to score.
We talked about the defensive line. It's basically those same 5 guys on the offensive line, Grams, Reichenberger, Cooper. You've got Lumen Kamoji, Christopher Martin up front for Kennedy.
They added a freshman, though, I believe. I think they have a freshman on the line. Zone read, bounce outside.
Good bounce. And it's the young sophomore, Sade Alessani, making his way to the 30, very near a Kennedy first down, gain of 9.
I seen Saeed when he was an 8th grader, very bouncy. He has the ability to stop on the go. He's a track runner, so he has that breakaway speed. Keep an eye on him in the next couple years.
Keep an eye on him this year. His first run was a near 20-yarder on Kennedy's first possession, called back because of a hold. So far so good for the young sophomore. Christopher Martin in motion. A little bit miscommunication in the Kennedy backfield, trying to make something out of nothing. Dion Barber, and he does. Looks like he's got enough for the Kennedy first down. So the Eagles appear to have their second first down. Well, I've already been wrong once. There is a first down. So a nice job there by Barber to find the stick somehow. Kennedy
with a little bit of a different look there. You saw him in the first couple of possessions. They were spreading you out, going 10 personnel. And you see here, they bump against each other, but just being able to keep your feet by Dion. He's an experienced runner, very strong, getting the first down.
From the 33, Kennedy. Fake the handoff, Falk around the end. Turns it upfield, and he's near another Kennedy first down as he gets to the 40-yard line. So Jesse Falk showing you that athleticism I mentioned on the first drive. DJ, he's a guy that looks bulked up from last year.
Yes, he does. And keeping him in the zone read gives him confidence. He has the ability to get out there and be aggressive. As you see, they read the defensive end. That was a great read. This is what he does pretty good. He's not like Avante from last year that's going to smoke you down the field. He's going to get those yards. He's just got to keep from being hurt and maybe get down on the ground a little sooner.
Late stages first quarter, season opener for Kennedy. Falk, second and short, hands it off. Sherwood bouncing, cuts it back, has a first down and a flag, maybe a face mask. Given the time when that flag was thrown, although a Washburn player is clapping.
Personal foul, face mask, number 32 of the defense. We'll go 15 yards from the end of the play. They'll have a first down.
Well, that'll benefit Kennedy, certainly. They had the first down anyway, but why not tack on 15? So give Sherwood credit. He was able to bounce around, juke around enough to get that face mask.
Josh, I love the momentum right now. I love the energy by the Kennedy Eagles. Kedrick Williams said he was going to be uber positive this game. He just wants to see his guys go out there and make good plays, get good plays on film. I love the energy right now. Let's see him put it in the end zone.
Motion, hand sparred. This play blown dead with a flag out, likely on Kennedy.
Those are the plays that hurt you.
Foul, ball start, number 56 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, and it remains first down.
And already 5 penalties combined between these teams. DJ, we talked about it, not as much time to prepare as you normally do before a first game. There's the face mask, and clearly the correct call.
Yeah, you just don't want to make too many mistakes because at the end of the game, those numbers pile up. If I would give Jesse any advice right now, it's to slow his cadence down. Just slow it down for his team.
Handoff up the middle, not much room that time as they crack down on that inside zone. Austin Carnacorn with the tackle. Second down and 14 for Kennedy with a minute to play in the quarter.
It will be interesting to see what Kennedy has in the bag right now. They've only shown the ability to run the ball. Do they have a screen play? Do they have something, a reverse or something like that? The Millers may be tempted to come down and peek in the box a little bit and bring pressure.
Falk's only pass so far was the interception. He's all sorts of under pressure, and this one's picked as well, and this might be a pick six. Falk giving chase, but he can't get there. Mason Willie with a defensive touchdown for Washburn.
Way to make a play. As you see here, Jesse trying to evade. He doesn't get his feet underneath him, so the ball sails. And number 24 right there to make the play with the scats there.
Falk there, he's the experienced guy back there, DJ, and his offensive line didn't do him any favors on that play, but that one needs to be thrown toward the fans that are here, not many of them for the Millers, but
That's
instead of trying to make a little bit too much there happen.
I just think the ball sailed on him. You know, you got to get your feet underneath you to be able to throw the ball, but like you said, you cannot make a mistake there. You either got to throw that thing all the way in the stands or take the sack, unfortunately.
Extra point up and good, so we've seen already 2 non-offensive touchdowns, and we're not even through the first quarter yet. So how have you been, Mr. Moffitt? What have you been up to this summer?
I have really just been trying to be the best guy that I can be. I think I put on a little bit too much weight.
Join the club.
Yeah, I was doing well for about a good month and a half, and then they said, you know what? I just like food too much. As you see the replay again, he tries to evade him. If you notice, his feet, he was just overextended a little bit too much, and that makes that elbow go down, and you want to throw that ball on a strike. Just like a baseball player, you want that shoulder kind of pointed. But to answer your question, you know, my basketball team, we've just been trying to do the best that we can, you know, in this situation. You're just doing a lot of – I've never squeegeed a basketball court before until this year. So I'm learning some new skills. So I know how to squeegee a basketball court and, you know, sanitizing basketballs. I think I'm pretty, like, efficient at that now. So, you know, it's just about doing things the right way. And I'm glad that we can have sports for our young people. Just as long as we can do it right and we're social distance, I'm glad we can have sports.
Yeah, we're in separate booths. We're doing our part. And pretty much everybody in attendance with a mask. They're doing their best to social distance. Or if you're part of a family, certainly you can sit together. But just great for the kids, especially the seniors. A month ago, they weren't even sure, were they even going to play in the spring? You don't know. That's what was lined up at that point. But glad to see everyone on the field and doing their best to compete, do it as safely as possible as Kennedy takes this kickoff across the 40. Pretty good field position. And you just wonder about Jesse Falk now, DJ. He's thrown 2 passes. Both have been picked. How will he respond here?
Now, it looks like we're going to get a new quarterback here. And talking to Coach Kedrick Williams, he wasn't afraid to do this. He told me, I'm not going to be afraid to make this move because I'm looking down the road. He understands the situation. There isn't a state championship this year. So you're really trying to see, first of all, you want to give your seniors opportunities. You want them to play well. But you also want to look into the future and peek into that bag and see what you got and give kids an opportunity. He's not so much worried about the mistakes. He just wants to give people chances.
And the new quarterback is Zachariah Zesh, number 4, as they hand it off. Marshall
Wow.
did about as good as he could have done and only picked up a yard.
And you made a point about the offensive line not really giving these guys a chance yet, or at least on that play. You know, I felt like they're finding an identity with the inside zone, but once teams start to notice what you're doing, what you'll see is you'll get guys packing the box. What I mean by that is you'll see a lot more guys closer to the line of scrimmage, and that's where you got to be able to have those off-kilter plays, the outside zone, the reverse, the counter play, something to counter what's already happening. So you might be able to see this here soon in the second quarter.
First quarter ends, and it was quite the quarter with 4 touchdowns. Unfortunately, 3 scored by Minneapolis Washburn as they have a 21-7 lead. We mentioned the soccer playoff game we'll have for you on BEC-TV Monday. But coming up on Tuesday, it is back for season number 7 inside Kennedy football, also inside Jefferson football. It's going to look a little bit different here in 2020, as most things you've been watching or doing have been. It's planned to be a remote-based inside Kennedy and Jefferson football. Check our website, BEC-TV.org, for the exact show times. Glad to be back. Both coaches agreeing to do inside Kennedy football, season number 7. Hardly can believe that they've let me have a TV show, DJ, for 7 years, but it's not about me. It's about the players, the coaches, and the football teams, and giving those young men a chance to be on television, learn about them, and give the fans and the parents and families memories that can be made.
Inside Bloomington football is a staple of this community. I love it. I've been on the show. I know how. I remember my first time. I was nervous. I was about to drip sweat, and you made me feel comfortable. You made me feel like I would be okay being on that TV show. And hey, I think that kind of is the reason why I'm here, not standing next to you, but at least being able to talk to my good friend.
It is weird, and I've done soccer games with Alex Redding, color announcer. It's weird to broadcast games when you're talking to someone you can't see. It's so unusual, but for obvious reasons, that's what we're doing. Is the first pass in the career of Zachariah Zesh sails incomplete, and 3rd down and 9 for Kennedy.
I like that coach gave him an opportunity to throw the ball there. He was a little late on the read. The guy did come open, but when you've never seen that before and that speed is there and those lights are on, I'm telling you, not a lot. There's a lot of people that can say what they want to say when they're in the stands, but you have no clue when the eyes in the sky are all on you and the ball's in your hands and those lights are on.
Zesh, by the way, 5'10", 165. He's a junior for Kennedy. Fumbled snap by Zesh, picked up by Kennedy. And Al-Hassani can't get much. That's what the Eagles were hoping would happen on the fumbled snap by Washburn at the goal line. But Millers take advantage, and Kennedy's going to be forced to punt. So some growing pains for the new quarterback.
Yeah, here it is. The ball's in. It gets too close to him. It's zipping. Like I said, that speed of the game just gets there, and you just got to make a play where you can.
That was not on the center for Kennedy. Jalen Reichenberger Cooper. That was a good snap. Some freshman jitters there for Kennedy in their first punt.
And you can kind of turn the tide here with some field position with a good punt, or maybe even a turnover.
Christopher Martin took a sideways bounce, smothered by Marquez Monroe at the 38-yard line of Minneapolis Washburn. So a critical time in this game, DJ, because Kennedy already down 2 touchdowns. You could see them getting back in, but with each successive score, if they give that up, it makes that task a bit more difficult. But I like this Kennedy defense. So many returning players from a year ago.
They have a lot of experience. You don't have to worry about them, seeing something different or seeing something new. They should be able to make the adjustments. The last series, the ball went in the air on the first play, and you make that mistake. You were in good position. If you're hand-sparred, you just didn't make the play. The ball was just perfectly thrown. But for the most part, they've done a very good job of getting these guys down on the ground.
Lee, the running back, here on first down for Gotzeman. Take the handoff to Lee. Pass over the middle, open man. Explosive play, Washburn. Might be another touchdown. Monroe on his horse. Saves the touchdown as it's inside the 5 to the tight end, Niall Dickel, for a big gainer of 59 yards.
I got Gottsman for 5 of 12, and he's really had, besides those first couple of passes where he had pressure, right now he's sitting back in the pocket and feeling pretty good about himself.
In the last 2 passes, gone for 56 and 59 yards each for Gottsman after that 3 out of 10 start. And I also have him for 5 out of 12, Darryl, so not the completion percentage Gotchman would want, but he's already found the end zone twice.
Yeah,
and Washburn threatening again.
I'm pretty sure he'll take the touchdowns. Trips down here.
Handoff Lee. No, fake the handoff. Gotchman waltzes into the end zone for the Miller touchdown.
So 2 touchdowns in 3 plays for the Millers. You got to think that that is the tempo that they want to play at. As you can see, a little.
This is the pass play that set it up to Dickel.
Safety got caught peeking in the backfield there.
We know Marquez Monroe, so much talent for Kennedy, but you almost forget he's still first game of his sophomore year.
Yes, and he also plays a lot of heavy AAU basketball as well. So, you know, he's got some mileage on his body. And then you add on to the football season. So, you know, everybody out here is kind of really trying to get their wind and figure out where they are. But they depend a lot on him, especially with his brother gone.
So 28-7, still 10:32 left, second quarter. See the Kennedy sideline.
Coach Kedrick Williams, he's focused more on Kennedy tonight than he is on Washburn. You got to think about it. No opportunity to get film from a scrimmage. You know, less preseason opportunities. So he's looking more at his team right now. He's not looking at the Millers. He's trying to find out, what do we do best? What do we do well? If he gets his best team around week 2, week 3, week 4, then they have a really good chance of doing some good things later in the season.
This is likely their toughest game in terms of an opponent they will face in the regular season, starting out with Washburn tonight. Sources, it's a condensed season and a big one next week for Richfield on Friday for Kennedy against Richfield.
Yes, and you know that both teams will be ready for that game.
Here's an onside kick or maybe a squib kick. It wasn't the best executed onside kick. It's offside. Kennedy recovered anyway. Heads up there for 55, Michael Winston, who's a sophomore, jumping right on it.
Little hoppity skip he had at the
He's like, yeah, I did my job well there.
I did my job. He's got to stay on the field now.
Those guys don't get to touch the ball that much either. So,
on the kicking team, encroachment, 5-yard penalty, and we'll re-kick.
Can Kennedy decline that penalty? You wonder why they wouldn't just want the ball near midfield there.
Right,
maybe they don't have the option.
Oh, well, they took one to the house.
There you go. They're thinking positive.
They took one to the house. You want to give your kid a chance to score, got to put some points on the board.
All right, you've convinced me.
It's always that's why you work together.
So those guys up front on extra alert now for this kickoff, which probably won't be the same exact thing twice in a row, and it's not. Caught out of the air by Alex Lynch. Clearly not comfortable in the return game, but he staggers for a few yards, and Kennedy will have good field position at the 40.
Yeah, Coach understands where he is right now, Coach Kedrick Williams. They brought back 20-plus 10th graders from last year's 9-1 freshman team. Those guys are on the field tonight. He understands that. He is building for the future. If they make those mistakes and they come out clean, no injuries, it's a win for him. He wants them to play hard, play fast, make mistakes, learn. They're not going to be sophomores next week. They'll be juniors next week as football states.
When they're going against likely the most experienced team on their schedule in addition to the most talented. Here's a big explosive running play for Kennedy. Dion Barber into Miller territory.
Outstanding run. Dion Barber, heavy experience. You don't usually see a guy with his power ability running the zone read inside run there.
Well, good luck tackling him. 5'10", bowling ball, 220.
You know what I loved about that play? You had offensive linemen at the next level. That's where you get the big-time yards. And it's going to be tough to bring down a Deion Barber if you got guys in your face. So I love the ability of Kennedy to be able to block, get to the next level, and extend their plays. They're doing some good things tonight.
Zach Zesch stays out there for his second series. Barber again. Falls forward for a gain of 2.
I want you guys to check the mesh, though. You can tell that he's not very comfortable with the handoff because you can see he's kind of catching it into his body and maybe pushing it to the running back. And the running back needs to get his pocket open. You do not want turnovers. You want to be able to make these positive plays and not hurt yourself. They can clean up the mesh point. They should be able to be okay.
Barber out, and a little bit of a different look. You go from 5'10", 220 to Sherwood at 5'6", 160. Talk about a change of pace. And Sherwood gets obliterated at the point of contact. As in there blowing up the play, Niall Dickel, who had that long reception goal line.
There's the blitz there right off the edge, getting in there, nobody touches him. Being able to time it up correctly and get in there. Now we have a 3rd and long here. The quarterback, obviously a passing situation. Got to look at the defense, take your best shot, see who you're going to get. Look for a blitz to come here.
Zesch looking like he's audibling here on 3rd and 12. Looks to throw, quick slant, and I think it hit the back of Deion Barber, incomplete. So 4th down. If you're a little bit closer here on 4th down, you might think about going for it, but on 4th and 12, likely a punt.
Yeah, you just don't want to hurt yourself even more than you already have. The slant there was open, just not able to complete. So you go ahead and punt, put your defense back on the field. A longer drive than you had before. Now it's up to the defense to be able to get a stop and give your offense a chance.
Martin punting as Washburn blitzes, as Martin goes for the corner. Pretty good punt. Can Kennedy track it down? Oh, yes. This is going to roll dead. They don't need to track it down. Martin with a 39-yard punt down at the 3. Well done.
That's what you want to do if you're Coach Kedrick Williams. You're not going to hurt yourself. Go ahead and put that ball in Chris Martin's hands and give him a chance to give a good punt. That's a good experience play for this Kennedy Eagles team.
I like how he angled it to the side, toward the sideline. There was only one returner back there for the Millers.
I saw the Millers on defense substitute a little bit more, as you see on here, as he takes a good bounce, good Kennedy bounce. Monroe being aggressive. Now they got the good field position. But you saw the Millers on defense subbing a little bit. They might be trying to save some energy so some of these guys can play both ways later on in the game, or at least later on in this half.
Servell Miller is in now for Washburn. He's the middle of the trio of receivers to the bottom of your screen. Remember, he led them in receiving yards last year.
He's got to be chomping at the bit right now to get in this game.
Roster before the game, getting prepared, and I was like, man, this guy's back. He's back too. Everyone back. Knew it was going to be a tough opponent for Kennedy right out of the gate.
Participation on the defense, it's a 15-yard penalty, resulting in a 1st down.
Last year, Servell Miller, 7 receptions, 95 yards, touchdown. He's got to be excited to get into this game right now.
Correction, dead ball foul, illegal substitution on the defense. That's a 5-yard penalty, and it will be 1st down and 5 yards.
So the correct yardage given for the illegal substitution for Kennedy. Out of the gun, Gottsman hands it off. Nelson. Near the 1st down. It'll be about a yard short. They mark him at the 13-yard line. Gain of 3.
That's a good job by Kennedy's defense, staying in their gaps, playing. You see the twist there. Number 1 staying outside. Lavelle Miller staying outside, keeping them inside with contain. That's some good coaching right there.
Dion Barber, I have a feeling he's going to lead Kennedy in tackles this year, 34. Nelson finding more room this time. Falk has to grab him. There's an eagle down on the far side of the field as Nelson has the first down and things getting a bit chippy already.
Well, you like to see them fighting between the whistles. So don't put yourself in a bad position. Bouncing it inside. Like I said, Kennedy does a pretty good job of tackling. You haven't seen the big runs that they used to give up. Just the peeking in the backfield and getting caught by the defensive.
Washburn, their first charge timeout.
Minneapolis Washburn takes a timeout with 7:50 remaining in the first half. Glad you're with us on BEC-TV for the football opener. Teams across the state playing here. The decision about a month ago for the Minnesota State High School League to push up that spring plan to this fall, and we're hoping it goes off without too many hitches. And I know that not just the players, we see cheerleaders there, they're glad to be out here. Parents, families, whether they're here or watching us live, they're glad to be seeing their loved ones being able to strap on the pads and play the sport of football that they love so much.
Yes, and it takes a lot of courage to be able to, with everything that's going on in the world, to be able to, find it in yourself to commit to something right now. It could be so easy to just say, all right, we're just going to not do anything. As we see a check here.
1st and 10 for the Millers after the timeout. Gottsman slings it far side, too tall. Intended for Kai Buford, a 5'11 senior wide receiver, number 10. Coach Kedrick Williams addressed that. Daryl, I'm not sure if you caught that in the pregame, addressing social injustice before the game. Had an excellent duet from 2 Kennedy Choir students, Maya Ortiz and Sophia Azmi. And that was prior to the national anthem. I think that was an appropriate way to kick off this football season. Gottsman, dangerous throw. Too tall again, intended for Miller. It'll be 3rd down and long.
Love how they slow played that. Gottsman trying to get out on the edge, find an open receiver or make it run. Kennedy played it well. They definitely watched some film, but yes, Coach Kedrick Williams does a very good job of understanding the perspective. As you see Gottsman out on the edge, just close to making the reception, but Coach Kedrick Williams does an outstanding job of seeing the right things and putting it in perspective. He understands that it's not easy, and coaching right now, you have to be doing this for the right reasons, and he definitely does.
3rd and 10, Kennedy trying to get off the field, and that throw way off target. Intended for Miller, and it looks like the first Washburn punt upcoming.
Washburn looking to throw the ball there. They wanted to look to the right. I don't even think Andrew even took a look to the left. He stayed on his strong side. There was a hole right open, a window to throw the slant. A little bit of off timing there.
See if Kennedy can take advantage of what should be pretty good field position. You see Marquez Monroe at his own 35-yard line awaiting the punt from Dickel.
I've always said that I think that special teams could be the strength of Kennedy.
Pretty good kick, Dickel. Monroe lets it bounce, and a good decision as Kennedy needs to get out of there. Takes a nice eagle bounce, and they'll start near midfield.
You want to find a way to not ever play again? You want to find a way to just sit over here on the bench, that's to be very close to the ball when you have good field position. You don't want that thing to bounce off you.
Elijah Smith, I was trying to raise my voice loud enough where maybe he could hear me, although I'm in an enclosed booth that does not have an ability for the window to be open. But thankfully for the young sophomore Smith, ball did not glance off him. Kennedy has possession after a nice defensive stop.
He's being coached up right now. I'm looking at he's being coached up.
When you hear people yell whatever code word the team has, you get out of there. Hand off Sherwood, right side. Gain of 3, just near midfield. Staying out there is Zesh for series number 3.
I still think that Jesse Falk has something to bring to the table offensively. I really do. He has the ability to be that second runner, as you see right here with the zone read. If you don't have a quarterback, imagine if Lamar Jackson didn't have the ability to run the ball. Then you just got one runner back there. You take one blocker away from you. You got to have a guy back there that is a threat to run the ball, or at least pass it.
Zesh hands it off up the middle. Explosive gain for the sophomore Alasani. Down to the Washburn 39-yard line, 12-yard gain.
I'm very impressed with how he runs. He is patient on this run. Watch his patience. Watch his eyes. He just gets in there, and then we call it getting skinny. You ain't that big as it is, but he had the ability to get in there and get even skinnier to gain some extra yards. In the next couple of years, that play will be a touchdown because he has the burst of speed. Once he gets stronger, he will break a couple tackles. That play will be in the end zone.
Kennedy trying to find the end zone on offense for the first time. Barber lowers his head, picks up 3.
It's just so tough when you get into this green, red zone area, as we have a few scuffles. It's just so tough now because Washburn's just going to pack the box. So you have to have the ability, as we get the replay here, you have to have the ability to at least take a shot downfield. At least take a shot.
Well, the problem for Kennedy, they've attempted 3 passes. 2 of them have been complete, but both have been complete to Washburn, and the other one was incomplete.
I like the formation change here.
22 personnel here for Kennedy. Sherwood swallowed up in the backfield with a late flag in the secondary of Washburn. It's an interesting spot where that flag was dropped.
Had a bit of a scuffle. I think this might be on the Millers.
The official approaching the Kennedy sideline, which is usually
Personal
a good
foul. Face mask, number 8 of the defense. Be a 15-yard penalty from the end of the play, resulting in a first down.
That's a big break for Kennedy. You go from 3rd and long
We go from the end
to
of
an
the play.
automatic first down near the red zone.
You do a very good job of getting penetration. 3 guys gang tackling, putting him on the ground, and then you make a mistake by face masking and getting a personal foul.
Yeah, it was not on the tackle. It was just a even more unnecessary face mask than usual by Dickel, who was grabbing the face mask of a Kennedy offensive lineman about 5 yards away from the play. Not smart. So Kennedy now from the 26 with Martin in motion. Hand off to Alasani. He's to the 22.
Kennedy in more of a power formation, so they're looking to get some type of leverage. You saw them the first couple times in this formation go to the strong side. This time they pull the guard and they come around. They pull the tackle, they come around, and they wrap in a power play. So they were a step ahead of the Millers there. Now if you can continue to gain yards, you can get into some play action pass opportunities. Those plays give your quarterback some confidence.
4 wide here for Kennedy, trying to spread out Washburn on a 2nd and 6. Sherwood, big hit by Lee. We saw him as a running back lower his shoulder and bowl over a Kennedy linebacker. This time he takes Sherwood for a bit of a backward ride.
You want to gain a first down if you can. The Millers showing against the trips formation, they showed one-on-one coverage down here. Maybe on that play, an opportunity to take a shot on that on the last play. You still get your 3rd down.
Probably 4 down territory, you would think here.
Possibly 4 down territory. Yep.
Aviles Rizzo looked pretty good on that extra point. He's a new kicker this year. Marshall in motion, 3rd and 5 for Kennedy to throw. Zesh On target to Marshall, broke a tackle, and has the first down. So Zaire Marshall making another play. He returned that kickoff for a touchdown, remember, earlier, and he has a key Kennedy third down conversion.
I got to give Zach some credit here. He looked to do a play action, it wasn't there, but that's some pretty good arm strength to throw that from the hash to the numbers.
And the key missed tackle by Marshall, gain of 5 for Kennedy, and their first completion of the season comes with 3:44 left in the second quarter.
And a score here would do something so tremendous for this team's boost going into half and giving your defense a rest.
And just outside the 10. Marshall in motion, takes the handoff on the end around, and a flag down. In a not good spot if you're a Kennedy fan.
Probably a holding on Kennedy. Those outside zone, kind of zone read plays that go out far, they take a little longer. They're longer hitting plays, so you got to hold your block just a little bit longer, so you might be seeing a holding here.
And also getting linemen, or in this case, likely another wide receiver trying to block, and it's not their forte necessarily. Millers are going to back up Kennedy here on this penalty. It's the 5th of the half
Holding
on Kennedy.
number 11 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
This could be a blessing in disguise because a lot of times when you get down here close, your offense gets condensed because not a lot of space. As you can see, the zone read, it takes a long time to get that done.
We saw that earlier. Washburn was near the goal line, then got backed up on a holding call and was able to convert even though they were 2nd and 26. Kennedy's going to use timeout number 2,
Timeout.
it appears.
Kennedy, their first charge timeout.
Actually, their first timeout, they didn't get they tried to call a timeout earlier, was not awarded. So both teams, 2 timeouts left, 3:31 to go here from the first half. Beautiful Bloomington Stadium on a warm October fall night, perfect for the start of the season alongside our crew and DJ Moffitt, Josh Powers.
It is beautiful outside. It was like the high was 83 today.
I'm wearing shorts.
I'm stupid. I wore a sweater.
Well, I knew I had a little bit of a, normally I probably wouldn't be in shorts, but I'm in this enclosed booth. There's no air conditioning in the press box here, and it gets a little bit warm with all the doors and windows closed. So normally I'd probably be in a long sleeve or a short sleeve with long pants, but
I'm just used to
I'm
football.
fine with the shorts. It's October in Minnesota.
Right.
Embrace it, right?
You got to be prepared somehow. I was figuring it's football, it's October, it's Minnesota. I'm at least going to dress like I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
All right, so Kennedy trying to recover from the penalty. 1st and 21.
You get trips here. Oh, this is empty. You might want to look for some rubs, a wheel route, something to get there. One high safety here.
Zesh drops back, has time,
There it
slings
is.
it toward the end zone. Handsford could not hang on.
I love the call. I absolutely love the call. That is the opportunity that you want. Even though they didn't complete that, that is the look that you want.
And it was a pretty good throw by the junior signal caller Zesh. He dropped this in a pretty good spot.
Yep. If you're Amarion Hanspard, you got to attack it at the highest point. You got the corner beat. You got the one-on-one. I saw that play probably about 3 plays ago. That's what I was looking for. When I said I felt like they should have took a shot and they had the one-on-one, that's exactly what I was looking for. They took that shot. It's still there if they want it. Let's go back to it.
So now 2nd and 21. Zesh again under pressure and sacked, and the ball's out. And the Millers have it for the second turnover.
That's an incomplete pass. I don't know why they didn't see that.
That's what Kennedy is signaling.
That's
The
an
officials are
incomplete
going to talk about it, and they disagree. We'll see if we can slow it down on our replay. Watching live, I have to admit I thought it was a fumble, but I could be wrong, and I think that's a fumble, unfortunately for Kennedy.
Yeah, that's a bang play. We're looking at his arm go forward. He did get hit from behind. Coming from a former high school quarterback, that is the worst hit to take as a quarterback. The ones that you can't see on your blind side, that is the worst feeling.
One more look. It's not going to be the best angle if you want to determine whether the arm was forward or back, but I think he hits him early enough, DJ. It'd be hard to believe that his arm was going forward still.
I give the ref the benefit of the doubt. They have a hard job.
They do. No, and they don't have the benefit of the slowed down instant replay with 25 cameras all looking at the play, and Kennedy gets it right back. They pick it off. Rajon Walker, the sophomore, with the first Kennedy turnover of the season for their defense.
Nobody can see me right now, but I'm smiling. That kid deserves that play. A sophomore, he works extremely. See anything, Kennedy does a good job. Look at Chris doing a good job. This is what Coach talked about. He wanted to put pressure on the quarterback and get Andy.
Well, he's listed on the Kennedy program as a wide receiver and quarterback.
That's where they start, at wideout.
There you go, but we know he can catch, right? That was a pretty good diving catch for playing safety.
He does love to play receiver. You can put that kid anywhere on the field. He'll be fine.
So let's see what Kennedy can do. They get it right back. Still 3:13 left, 2 timeouts.
Kennedy might have to burn another timeout. Not enough people on the field.
Yeah, 1 timeout now.
Bloomington Kennedy, their second charge timeout.
Well spotted by you. I'm counting 10 right now. And they would have been at a disadvantage. Those are the things that can happen in not only in game number 1, DJ, but with way less time to prepare than normal.
Yeah, that's why I got to give so much credit to these coaches. They do such a great job. I think what also goes unnoticed is the job now of being able to stay in communication with your players. You're talking about they are distance learning all the time. And now you're having to, you can't go sit in a room and ask all your players to go watch film anymore. Think about that. Think about the adjustments that they have to make in 2020 to even have a film study.
Right.
Let alone now you got to take care of these kids. Are you doing your homework? Are you making it to your synchronous classes? The job has become 24/7.
So 1st and 10 from midfield for Kennedy with Marshall in motion. Zesh fakes the handoff, slings it on target. And the first catch for Luke Dojan.
I'm impressed with number 4's arm. Why is he wearing number 4? Does he think he's Brett Favre? He threw that thing on a rope in between defenders. I was worried if this was going to be an interception. That's some confidence. That's some confidence. I love it. And the confidence to be able to call that play on first down. Those are the things that you have to do for a team that's just learning an identity.
It's going to maybe creep that Miller defense back a bit away from the line of scrimmage a bit too. A first down call like that. Zesh from the pistol. This one's a handoff, and you see the running room start to open up.
Yep.
For Kennedy Alasani to the 30, a gain of 5. Still plenty of time for Kennedy, even with 1 timeout.
They're still bringing guys. So this is Kennedy with the ability to catch them off guard. I think Washburn is kind of being tired and they're gassed a little bit. They got guys going both ways too. As you can see on that play, they're overrunning plays and not really coming down the line of scrimmage to make the tackle. Got to take advantage of this if you're the Kennedy Eagles. There's the timeout. They understand that they're gassed. Water.
You can hear the players a little bit more than usual
No band.
with our sideline microphones.
Second charge timeout.
So now both teams with 1 timeout left. 2:05 remaining. Kennedy trying to inch a little bit closer before halftime.
I've really been impressed with Kennedy on both sides of the ball. they're doing some positive things. They're building on some positive stuff. They're building a very good foundation. And like you said earlier, there was no scrimmage games. So how else would you learn what you do well? How else would you know who you are? But to just go out there and just throw it up against the wall. So you got to give a lot of credit to the Kennedy Eagles and their coaching staff. And this is a really young team with, I think they have 9 seniors. In football, that's not a lot. You want to have the majority of your team, you want to be a senior-led team, especially at the varsity level. This is a very young football team.
Especially on offense. They're a bit more older on defense. See if this unit can come together here already in this first half.
One-on-one down here on the bottom.
Zesh notices it, takes the shot, and either was deflected or came off of his hand wrong as it flutters incomplete. Stops the clock with 2 minutes remaining.
They're doing a pretty good job of getting to the quarterback.
His arm may have been hit there.
Yeah.
Hard to see. He's kind of got a little bit of a low delivery. That elbow may have been touched by one of the D linemen for Washburn. So now 3rd and 4, 4-down territory you would figure.
They got cushion, you can run a hitch here. Oh, good run.
It's Barber running downhill for the first down.
They have to be careful though because it's about 2 minutes. Now you're in your 2-minute offense. You got to have plays upon plays.
Gain of 6 for Deion Barber as he was able to bounce it to the outside. Nice seal block on the edge by Kennedy.
Yeah, and they were trying to get the tackle to come across on a pull play. He didn't get there. Deion Barber doing a very good job of just keeping on trucking.
Jeffrey Keller, 6'4", 250, sophomore, number 65, sealing the edge there.
You don't have long if you're Kennedy. You cannot stroll to this line of scrimmage. You have to call plays after plays after plays.
We're down to 90 seconds. Hanspard in motion. Zesh fakes it, sees some room, sees an open man on target. Marshall to the 5, stretching out, touchdown!
Strike up the band. That's a touchdown right there.
Kennedy had all the time they needed if they make a play like that.
Look at this.
Marshall finds the end zone for the 2nd time, and it's the first career touchdown for Zach Zesh.
That is, congratulations to Zach. Confidence building plays. He doesn't try to force it downfield. He looks, goes to his check down. He's bumped by one of his blockers. Anything that could have gone wrong could have gone wrong on that play. But just the positivity, I think it's sparking off. I think Coach Kedrick Williams and his positivity is starting to spark off on his players.
Extra point blocked. Looked like Austin Carnicorn, number 13. But another look. How many times, DJ, have you seen a new quarterback, something happens in the pocket, breaks down, they just take off and run? Zach has the presence of mind, keeps that head up, finds a wide open Marshall.
Also got to give credit to my buddy, Coach Shelton. He used to coach Zach when he was a sophomore and then on JV. He gives his quarterbacks a lot of opportunities to throw the ball. So I got to give credit to also the JV coaches. That's a little insight. They do a very good job of letting these guys throw the ball. So when it's time to throw, I think even at the youth level, you see it all the time at the youth level. They don't let kids throw the football. And then you expect them to want to throw the ball when they get older. You got to let people let that thing fly. So what you're talking about here is a kid that's not afraid to do what he does best. He's not that guy that's going to he's not Avante Monroe from last year. So he just stays in the pocket, present of mind to just get outside a little bit, does a little bit of Aaron Rodgers, flicks that thing out, and we have a touchdown on the board.
And it looked like the right call. Marshall seemed clearly to hit the pylon with that football still in his possession. So good call there as Kennedy creeps a little bit closer, 28-13. But still a minute 19 for this very quick strike Miller offense. See how far they get on the return.
There's a crease.
Closes relatively quickly. And That return gets only to the 30-yard line.
A lot of success by these young Kennedy Eagles. There's a lot of kids that have played at the BAA level, and they know how to play fast. As you said, the presence of mind to put the ball out there and to get a touchdown. How else would you know how to do that if you've never done it before, besides playing Madden or something? But if you've never been put in that situation, you don't know how to do it. We're seeing some impressive things by these Eagles.
So we'll see how aggressive Washburn is here with a 2-touchdown lead. Minute 13, only one timeout. Gottsman fakes the handoff, and this pass way over the head of Miller. Boy, we have seen Gottsman off target on a ton of throws here in the first half. He's 5 out of 17. That's the bad news. The good news is he has 3 touchdowns of those 5 completions.
Well, I will say this. Early in the season, especially like we said, with no preseason games, no scrimmage games, that's where, if you look at last year's film around, well, I think they played at the end of the season last year.
It was the last game of the regular season.
He was so efficient because he's getting all these bad throws out of the way. They're bad throws. the intermediate throws, he's not doing so well on.
Barber on a blitz, blows everything up. Dion Barber with a big TFL, and that might squash any chances Washburn was thinking about trying to score here at the end of the half. Watch the timing there of Barber.
Very good stunt, getting there, getting your shoulders square. Look at that tackle. Eyes on the ball, wrapping around. That's a gator tackle right there. They practiced that.
So 3rd down.
Timeout. Jefferson. Kennedy.
Oh, my
Third
goodness.
charge. Timeout. Clock
I've
operator.
done that too. I've been there.
45 seconds. 45 and a half seconds on the clock. Thank you.
Luckily, there's not as many fans as usual there, and that could have warranted some boos. But
right.
Speaking of Jefferson, if you want something to do at the half, check out the Jaguars. They're in action against Chanhassen, currently 2nd quarter, trailing 27-14. It's on our sister station. Head on over to BEC-TV.org if you want to watch some of that game while this one's at halftime. And we'll vice versa, if the Kennedy game is available in an away game, we will have that for you in upcoming weeks for Kennedy. So stay close to BEC-TV.org throughout this very condensed 6-game regular season.
Going to be some good games, good competitive games. If you look at the schedule, both teams have opportunities to get some wins in the next couple weeks.
3rd and 14. Would be shocked if they put it up in the air here. They do actually. Gottsman over the middle and overthrows another receiver. Now the clock stops with 34.3 seconds left. Jamar Nelson was open, but the pass again was too tall.
Interesting that they call that play again. I think that's the 3rd time. They're running what's called a spot route, which means number 5 is going to a spot and he should sit and wait. The opportunity to run the ball for the quarterback is there as well. Kennedy's doing a very good job of covering it. The Millers just cannot complete. And now there's an opportunity for the Kennedy Eagles to put the ball in the end zone with 39 seconds left.
Special teams for Kennedy. Already seen one return for a touchdown. Put it under pressure, and they just got that off. That was touched first by the Millers. And they're blown dead here. That ball was then picked up by Kennedy. As the clock stops at 26 and a half seconds left.
Somebody tell Rajon this is not freshman football. Get down on the ground. That might have worked last year. It's not going to work at this level.
So Kennedy here with 26 and a half seconds left, but still 60 plus yards away from the end zone. Wouldn't figure likely here, DJ, to be very aggressive, but you never know.
Yeah, you don't want to make a mistake that's going to put you in a bad situation, but you do see that, Zach, it has to be a play or two, a screenplay, a bubble, something there that they might be able, that's just simple, that works in his wheelhouse, they can get the ball close to maybe even get a field goal.
Sade El-Hassani, the running back, and the Washburn Millers. If you didn't catch that on our microphone, apparently wanted a timeout.
The third and final charge timeout.
You can even, if you watch NFL games, you can hear the checks now. You can hear the little conversations that they have, the little adjustments. I don't know if anybody
Used
watched
up all of their timeouts for the first half.
the Bears' adjustments last night to win the game, where the quarterback checks into a different play to throw it for a first down to win the game. You can hear these things now, that there's less people in the stands, and we're a little spaced out.
How about Tom Brady? Looked like he didn't realize it was 4th down last night. Even the best of all time can make mental mistakes from time to time.
It's a struggle out here for everybody. For everybody.
So both teams have exhausted all their timeouts.
How about these new whistles? You like them?
No, because I can't hear them. I think it's better for the players, sure. Kennedy will throw here and get sacked, and that'll probably do it for the first half.
Yeah. And this is what we were looking for. Lavelle Miller was open for a screenplay. You just got to get the ball out of your hands. Can't make a mistake there. We're just going to get out and not run a play.
I do like the fact they gave him one play to maybe get a chunk of yardage, and they could think about trying to advance it for some more points. I like the aggressive approach, but then after the sack, Kennedy shuts it down. But the Eagles end the second quarter on a positive note as they scored within the last couple minutes of the first half. As we look back at the first half highlights, Jesse Falk, this was his first pass of the season, one of 2 interceptions for Kennedy, as Washburn would take advantage. This is the 4th down, and not panicking was Andrew Gottsam, and he picks it up on 4th and 1, and what could have been a big momentum turner for Kennedy turns into a Miller touchdown. One of 2 touchdowns for Jamarian Wheeler. Kennedy would come right back, though, DJ, on this beautiful kickoff return.
Yeah, this is the kind of plays that you need to get the little pick-me-up, being able to get up the field, especially in the first game. That's a kick return to the house.
Zaire Marshall taking it the distance for Kennedy on the beautiful ball fake. You mentioned Kennedy's got some athletes nobody's going to catch. Marshall, the kicker, even had the angle and couldn't get there.
That's a little ace in the hole there. I think Zaire, he played for Washburn last year.
Okay, a little revenge tour.
So it has to feel good to get one in the end zone against your old team.
Why not take a third look at it? I'm sure the Marshall family doesn't mind. And it was well blocked, too, by Kennedy.
Yeah, you saw that.
Untouched.
He saw you kind of pump his fist a little bit. It's like, yeah, take that. Put that on your huddle account.
Gottsman, though, he would come back for as many bad passes he threw in the first half. He drops this in the bucket for the second touchdown to Wheeler for 56 yards. We talked about Jesse Falk. His passing hasn't been on point yet, but he can do some things with his feet.
I think they got a double-headed quarterback there. If you kind of condense the playbook a little bit for both teams, for both quarterbacks, you kind of condense it, do what both of them do best. You might be able to, but like they said, if you have 2, you don't have 1, so figure it out.
Kennedy would strike at the end of the half with under 90 seconds left. Marshall again finds the end zone by Zach Zesh, his first touchdown throw.
It's good to see him get outside the pocket, find his receiver, and put it in the end zone for a touchdown.
So a good first half for both teams. Washburn, that pick 6 was huge. Also that 4th down fumbled snap, they were able to pick that up and score those 2 touchdowns. The difference right now at halftime, 28-13. We don't have any band, unfortunately. No dance line, unfortunately, as well. It's going to be a unique 2020 halftime that's not going to be as exciting as normal. But we still have live football for you. Second half coming up. If you're watching live, 12 and a half minutes from now, we'll start the third quarter. If you're watching a tape-delayed version, good news for you. The second half kickoff right after this break Football is here in 2020. Friday Night Football here from Bloomington Stadium on BEC-TV. Back for the second half, the season opener here in 2020. A season we did not think would happen in this calendar year, but that all changed about a month ago. Not a lot of time to prepare for both teams, and more unusual and interesting season opener than we've ever had before, but I guess in the year 2020, that's about what you can expect. And through the first 24 minutes, Minneapolis Washburn leads Kennedy 28-13 alongside our crew and DJ Moffitt, Josh Powers. DJ, your thoughts from a Kennedy perspective on that first half?
You saw some good things. I felt like on defense they did a pretty good job of making the quarterback make mistakes. They wanted to put pressure on the quarterback. They wanted him to make mistakes, so they saw some things that worked, and they're going to continue to gain on that as blitzing and all those things comes into play. On offense, you saw them start to pick up the ball, throw the ball, be confident. The quarterback is got to be important in this play because you know that they're going to look to run the ball. They ran the ball 25 times for 94 yards. Sherwood led with 39 yards rushing. So you know that they're going to run the ball, so you got to have something, ace in the hole, some type of pass, some type of way. You don't want to be too predictable. Zach went 3 of 7 for 45 yards with a TD. So they're going to have to take some ease off this offensive line and throw that ball in the air. So some good things. Some not so good things, but that's the reason why you play football right now.
Deion Barber also chipping in, had a pretty good game on the ground. 5 carries, 33 yards for him. Kennedy outrushed Washburn. The problem was they gave up a couple of explosive pass plays. It wasn't the cleanest half for Andrew Gotzeman. 5 out of 18 passing. That was the bad part. The good part is 138 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's just not in his groove. He's not in early season form. You know, the plays that he was making toward the end of the season last year, the intermediate routes, the short routes, those throws just aren't there for him. But he's doing a very good job of making simple reads and just throwing the ball downfield when he can. He just needs to settle down and maybe run the ball when nothing's there and just get down or throw that ball out of bounds, you know. Protect yourself and protect your team.
Washburn did not do a whole lot on the ground. Leading the way for them was Ramon Lee Jr., 5 carries for 40 yards, not much outside of that through the ground. Kennedy dominated the time of possession in this game, but it was the explosive plays for Washburn, those 2 long 50-plus yard pass plays, and then you had the pick 6, which basically accounts for 21 of their points. So Kennedy certainly not out of this game yet, but down by 2 touchdowns, they're going to have to play a pretty darn good half of football or take advantage of some Washburn mistakes if they want to move to 1-0. And I think what's exciting about this, DJ, is you look at Kennedy's schedule. It's just a 6-game schedule. You've got Richfield, Minneapolis Southwest, St. Croix Lutheran, Columbia Heights, Mound Westonka. This is probably on paper the toughest opponent they will face this year. It's certainly the most experienced team in Washburn. Kennedy hanging in there.
And they're playing pretty well.
Yep.
You know, we talked about how young they are on offense and the experience that they have on defense. They just got to stay together. And who better to do that than Coach Kedrick Williams? He understands his role on this team. You know, he took a step back from the defensive coordinator job and decided to kind of coach this thing from a bigger picture standard. You know, it takes some maturity to be able to do that, to see your program from a holistic kind of standpoint and not just try to just dominate one side of the ball. He could have just loaded everybody on defense and said, all right, well, we're just going to just do that and just be a very good defensive team. He said, all right, well, let's see what we got. If we're not working well with Jesse, then let's put another guy in there and see what he can do. Look how many different guys carried the ball on offense. He wants to put the ball in his athletes' hands and allow them to be able to make plays. So you just got to give kudos to this Kennedy staff. They understand what it takes, and I think there's another level for them to go in the next couple of weeks. Like you said, some winnable games.
Well, there's also the component of in game 1 with limited practice. You mentioned Kennedy had 6 different ball carriers in the first half. They're also trying to figure out, okay, who's the best guy for the inside zone and for the end arounds and all the different plays. And you're getting some extra reps here. Kennedy, both teams really, it's not just a Kennedy thing. Both teams have to figure that out a little bit on the fly.
Yeah, it's you got to take your time. You got to understand that the mistakes are going to happen. But like we said, everybody's just trying to figure out who they are. You already do that in any regular situation. In any regular situation, game 1, you know you're going to make mistakes. Just try not to make the ones that are going to hurt you the most. But you add on to the fact that there's no preseason games or no preseason scrimmages. You're really trying to find and put all your best film on tape. And at least if you make the mistakes, you can fix them for week 2.
Speaking of week 2, we will preview that with Kedrick Williams on Inside Kennedy Football Tuesday night. It's our season premiere of Inside Kennedy Football. Normally we'd have an episode before the first game, but we were in depth in our soccer coverage this year and wanted to, especially last Tuesday, at the Battle of Bloomington, and so we wanted to make sure all of the viewers out there, hope you have been tuning in to our soccer coverage. We have more of it on Monday. Kennedy boys going to host a playoff game. They're the number 3 seed out of 15 teams in Section 2A. They've got a great chance to win that section, which would end their season on a high note. So their first round game live Monday on BEC-TV, 7 o'clock start, right here at Bloomington Stadium.
The other thing to point out is Kennedy won the first down battle. They had 14 first downs versus Washburn's 11. So they found ways to move the chains. They found successful plays. Now who's going to make the adjustments? If they can come down and score here, they're in this game.
And can they maybe find a couple more bigger plays? You obviously had the nice kickoff return, but other than that, it was the longest play offensively from scrimmage was that 22-yard touchdown. You compare that with Washburn, had 2 50-plus yard pass plays.
Got to be careful here with an onside kick.
We've already seen one attempt. This one rolling and diving on it, Kennedy at the 30. That's probably a win there for the Millers, or as good as you could hope for that situation. Kyle Schletty for Kennedy, number 12, jumping on it, senior.
And we talked about it, Kennedy, 6 different guys carrying the ball. The sophomore Saeed had 5 carries. He had 5 carries in the first half. So you don't know who's going to get the ball. I think that's an advantage for Kennedy if they can open up the game a little bit, pass the ball, give Zach some opportunities to throw the ball in the short passing game. They can open up these run lanes.
Barber will start as the tailback for Kennedy. Zach Zesch out offensively. Eagles trying to cut into this lead. Look how many Washburn players are close to the line of scrimmage. There are 9 of them. They stack the box, and it works on 1st and 10 as there's nowhere for Barber to go.
And that's what we're saying. They know what's going to happen. They know who's going to get the ball if they go in a trips formation. You got to have something in your back pocket to be able to give the quarterback an opportunity. Maybe a slant, maybe a hitch. You can see that the corners aren't playing too tight. They're playing a little bit off, probably about 8 to 10 yards off. If you got a simple play, just throw it to your receiver and let him make plays after that.
Second and long, not as many closely committed to the line of scrimmage on this play.
Yeah, Chris at the top.
They'll throw to the trips, caught. Lavelle Miller trying to break a tackle and did a pretty good job. He didn't quite break the tackle, but he took him for a little bit of a ride and was spun down a yard short of the first down.
And those are plays that he can make. Those are plays that he can do, and you get the ball into these athletes' hands, they'll figure the rest out. All you got to do is block out on the edge and get a hat on the hat, and now look at what you got. You got a 3rd and short, and you can, the world is your oyster here.
Need to take it to the 40-yard line. 3rd and 2, they'll go under center. Quarterback sneak, and I don't think he had it. Or they're going to walk him up. Look at that official walking up to the bottom of your screen. That looked like a very generous spot, and a first down for Kennedy. They'll take it.
Like we said, Kennedy moved the chains in the first half. 14 to Washburn's 11, and they led in the time of possession. That has to be some confidence for this Kennedy Eagles offensive ball club and the offensive coordinator.
You mentioned both teams, a lot of players playing 2 ways. Can Kennedy kind of grind down Washburn here? Your screen by Hanspard, spinning out of another tackle, and he takes it for 5 yards.
Look at Lumen. Watch this ball being thrown. They understand the one-on-one at the top. But look at this. When you get a a lineman out there. Watch this. Out there on the edge. That's winning football right there.
That poor cornerback, I think, just kind of gave up a little bit on that play. He was going to be swallowed up by Lumen Kamoji. First catch for Marion Hanspard, 2nd and 5 for Kennedy.
Again, Chris Martin up at the top of the key. Excuse me, I'm thinking basketball. Goodness gracious. At the top of your screen, number 84, Chris Martin.
Washburn really pinching in on that inside zone. No room there for Alisani. He has had an impressive debut for the sophomore. As you mentioned in the first half, we've seen some intriguing younger players for Kennedy. Specifically looking at Alisani on offense. Liked what I saw from Rajon Walker on defense, number 5 for Kennedy, who had that pick.
Yes, Coach Kedrick Williams said we got to put guys in positions. We do not have time to just see, just throw at. We want to put our best players on the football field.
Walker lined up here, bottom of your screen as a wide receiver, 3rd down. Zach Zesh drops the snap. And an unfortunate end to this series for Kennedy as they'll send in the punting unit. Zesh has had some problems with snaps. That one a little bit low, but certainly catchable.
You can see he's jittery a little bit. He's trying to get into his steps before the ball gets there. You know, I tell quarterbacks, stand up tall, throw a ball. So he's kind of like crouching himself down. He's trying to get away from the line of scrimmage before the rush gets there. Just stand up tall, survey your defense, let that ball get to you, take your position step, and rip the ball.
Jamar Nelson back to receive this punt from Martin. Good one by Martin. Driving back Nelson, and it takes a great hop for Kennedy. Inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. 35-yard punt, no return. So that helps flip the field a bit for Kennedy. And the first look for the Millers on offense.
I'd like to see them run the ball a little bit more emphatically, kind of, force their will on Kennedy. You always can throw the ball. You know what you're going to get. They threw the ball 18 times, and you were successful, but you're trying to find yourself too, So I'd like to see the Millers try to find ways to run the ball, be a little bit more physical.
I had only 8 rushing attempts from them in the first half, so especially when your quarterback is only 5 out of 18. Might see a bit more run here in the second half for Washburn. Got some in. That's what they'll do on first down. Lee made a man miss. And now dragging people, Ramon Lee, for the first down and more across the 35-yard line. Lee has been their best back tonight.
And this is where you just wear teams down. You got to enforce your will. If the mentality for the Millers is saying, hey, we know who we are. We know what we can do. We have all our plays in our back pocket. But we got to be able to do this. Run with physical, reckless abandon, dragging people.
Another big burst up the middle. Jamar Nelson to the second level into Kennedy territory on another double-digit gainer. The last one went for Lee for 13. This one goes a bit further, gain of 14.
And they're switching out the running backs, so you can tell they're going to run the ball. They're going to run with some strength and some vigor.
Got some in to throw.
That's that spot
over the
route.
middle. They've got a complete first catch for Servell Miller. Washburn moving quickly as Miller's down to the 21-yard line.
I think that's RPO. That's run pass option, I believe. I think he had the option to pull it and get out on the edge. As you can see, he decides to keep it.
Gain of 22 on the
I love
RPO
the pace.
to Miller.
I love the pace here, this tempo. Got a tight end at the bottom.
3 consecutive first downs. Lee, plenty of room up the middle. Cut back Lee. Lee still moving inside the 5, and he's down to the 1-yard line. 20 more yards for Ramon Lee Jr.
He's got a bit of Marshawn Lynch in him. Look at him bouncing inside. The lineman getting up to the next level, lowering the shoulder, keeping his feet.
injured Miller player down. It's one thing you also unfortunately might expect a bit more of with the condensed training camp, if you will, whatever you want to call it, practice schedule before your first game, is the possibility of more injuries. And so far, this is the first injury stoppage of the game.
Yeah, knock on wood. I'm knocking on wood here. I thought we'd see more like cramps and
especially on this warm day.
Yeah, I thought we'd see more. So kudos to both coaching staffs, keeping kids safe and in great condition. Those are 3 outstanding plays by the Millers. Like we said, we wanted to see them run the ball a little bit more with some strength and some power and some physicality.
Getting the run game going more in the second half here for Washburn. That player still down. His number is being blocked from my view.
It's now Dickel.
Okay. He had that 59-yard catch earlier, as well as a sack, did Dickel. So he's been a key contributor for Washburn. He's one of their seniors. Ramon Lee, he's been tough for Kennedy to tackle here tonight.
He's tough for anybody to tackle if you don't have good run leverage. You're not attacking it at a high pace and a high speed, because he's going downhill. You better meet him with the same kind of frequency, or he's going to have a lot of energy to take down.
Dickel looks to be up and in pretty good spirits. Might have just been a cramp over there. He's walking without any assistance, so a good sign there for the Millers. Meanwhile, 1st and goal from the 1 for Washburn, trying to punch it in on their opening series of the second half. Lee handoff, touchdown, Washburn. Lengthens the lead, and it was a efficient opening drive to start their second half.
Yes, all positive plays. Only 1 pass there. They ran that spot route right across the middle for a good completion, but the rest of it was just straight, I am better than you, force your will into the end zone. As we see here, this is very, very well timed by Deion Barber. Like I said, you better have some good pad leverage. You cannot come there going down there standing straight up.
Extra point, they've been perfect so far, and Laban's England continues that trend as it's now 35-13.
That was a very good first series of the half for the Millers. And now you're just going to keep chugging away. Now you're trying to figure out who you are. You could tell they're over there a little bit more confident.
Yeah, that was an efficient 5-play drive for Washburn that took less than 2 minutes and covered 67 yards.
I don't think you're going to get a series from the Millers that will ever, be very
15
long.
15 plays.
No, I don't think that's who they are. Either they're going to score fast in the tempo. I mean, you can play tempo. And what I mean by tempo is no huddle. You can play that type of style fast and tempo and eat up clock. But I don't think that's who they are. I think they're big play, big run, big pass.
So midway through the third quarter, Kennedy will get it on offense for the second time in this half. Another squib kick taken by one of the up men. And it's that sophomore, great prospect, Rajon Walker, still on his feet. Walker, look at this run to the 38-yard line of the Millers. He's touched the ball twice in this game, and both have been spectacular.
I don't know. I'm not going to say what I told you downstairs when I saw you, but I'm telling you, there is a mark on this kid. He can play football. You put him anywhere on the field. He's bouncing on. He's got an extra energy. He wants to be on the football field. He's saying, Coach, put me anywhere. I promise you got to find a place, some place for him on offense.
Well, Kennedy's freshman team was 9-1 last year. And I'm starting to see maybe that's one of the reasons why. Number 5 in Navy.
Yes, he was. He played wide out. He played quarterback. He's a pretty good quarterback.
So in plus territory, Kennedy. Hand off. There's some good room up the middle. It's Sherwood. Tough to find him amid all the offensive linemen. Good gain on first down for Kennedy.
So if we're asking what is Kennedy's identity, I got to say that they're doing a pretty good job running the football. The inside run is something that's good for them. Now, as you move forward, you got to say, what's our counter? What do we have off of that can catch people off guard? Where are our big plays? What are our easy go-to plays? And we should be able to see that here in this second half.
And off Alisani right side, dragging a tackler. Looks like a first down for Kennedy on a gain of 6.
They're doing a really good job of going away from the trips. Most people shift their defense over to the strong side of the offense. So they are finding ways to run the football to the weak side of the trips. As you can see here, the give and the sophomore gaining the yards, getting the first down for the Kennedy Eagles.
And he dragged Dickel, by the way, who's back in. So great to see for Washburn, but that's a sophomore dragging a senior in Dickel that goes 6'3", 220. So Alisani's got some power in him, and it's only going to continue to develop. Fresh set for Kennedy. First down run, Sherwood spun down at the 25 after a gain of 3.
Some good yards here on first down. I still would like to say in between first and second down is usually when you want to take your shot to the end zone where it doesn't hurt you. Kennedy subbing in multiple players each play. I like that idea. Keeping guys fresh, you don't know how they're going to attack.
Martin coming in late for Kennedy. Have to get a little urgency here on a 2nd and 7.
There has to be some reason why they're in this formation. They're setting something up.
Martin in motion. Hand off, Sherwood to the second level. Close to the first down. He took on those 2 tacklers with a bit of
that's some physicality
there
at the
go.
point of it. Those are called point of attack runs. They know exactly where they want to go. They're lining up in bulky, tight end-like formations, moving Chris Martin into a motion, getting your eyes toward the strong side of the formation, and then they run weak. Those are called point of attack runs.
You don't expect the guy that goes 5'6", $150 to lower his shoulder at the second level, but it worked out for Sherwood. A first down for Kennedy. Zash, deep ball corner for Marshall, and a step too far.
But taking that shot on first down. They took that shot on first down. It doesn't hurt you to throw that ball. And I used to tell quarterbacks, throw it to the back of the end zone, make it drop to the back pylon. You know, you see where the ball goes, he kind of leaves it in the air. But if he throws that thing in the back pylon, it's an extra inch for him to kind of run underneath it and catch it.
Second and 10, Kennedy. Glad you're with us on this season opener. Zach Zesh bidding for his second touchdown. Junior for Kennedy. Getting his first action at quarterback for the Eagles here in this game. And we've got a false start.
Bit of a hard count there by the quarterback. That'll throw. Chris is also a defense. Chris is also a defensive end, so he's used to just hearing hut and going, you know. you know. But as you can see, you see the inside run leverage. You don't get a penalty there. We could be talking about 6 points on on the board here.
First penalty of the half for Kennedy, 6th overall. Washburn just 3 penalties committed. I think Ryan Galindo would have taken that stat if offered it at the beginning of the game. Still a ways to go. Second down and long now. Zesh over the middle, intercepted. Third pick for the Millers, trying for their second pick, 6. Zesh giving chase and he can't get there. Washburn has done it again. Their second defensive touchdown, this time Jamar Nelson.
We're gonna look at the replay here pretty soon.
Seemed like Zesh threw it to a spot, DJ, and unfortunately it was a little overthrown, and Nelson was waiting back there, took advantage.
Yeah, these are timing routes. These are quick routes. The quarterback does not, and I think we talked about it earlier where he threw one and it was too late. I think here he threw it on time. I just don't think Amarion turned his head around quick enough to catch the ball. Either way, you know, if you're not on time, you're not ready to go, and that ball's not thrown perfectly, that leaves opportunities for interceptions and pick sixes. Kennedy's going to look at this film and they're going to get that play right, because I think that play is something in their pocket that they can use, something quick in the red zone that can score a touchdown.
Laban Zingler, this one twisting to the left and no good. So his first miss on a PAT.
Yeah, you can see Kennedy and their coaches right now. They're looking at the play right now. They told us they spent a lot of time and a lot of energy trying to get their new huddle assistants film stuff, the huddle sideline stuff. So this gives them the opportunity to kind of check at it and get it fixed right now. So I love that teaching moment right now that they're using. They're using this as an opportunity. It's a mistake, but it's a teachable and a learnable mistake.
How about that technology? Almost instantaneously, they're able to show that back.
I might have won a couple more games.
Right?
No way.
There are some benefits about being in the year 2020, and one of them is they have the technology to do something like that. Instantaneous feedback for the young junior quarterback, Zach Zesh.
And he's a junior, which is traditionally, if we look at the quarterbacks at Kennedy within the last maybe 3 to 4 years, they've been seniors, the starters. So he's got a chance to they're going to invest in him.
Line drive kickoff fielded on a hop. Marquez Monroe, room up the sideline. Monroe still twisting and down inside the 30.
Marquez is a pure athlete. I think that the special teams is going to be something that they can do in the future. Because they got guys like this. You like to see them hold on to the ball and maybe get that ball in the outside hand. But when you're making plays like this, you're just trying to get the ball in the end zone.
Well, I don't know if that was like a decoy. Usually your up back isn't one of your best athletes. Marquez Monroe, I think, catching Washburn off guard there.
Well, it's an adjustment. You see that they're not kicking it deep because they don't want to kick it to their ex-comrade back there waiting to take that thing to the house. So you put an athlete in your up back position and you get an opportunity to gain some more yards.
Kennedy's offense right back into plus territory. But a flag here on a Dion Barber run for a couple. Preliminary signal holding on Kennedy.
Holding, number 65 in the offense. A 10-yard penalty.
That's the young sophomore Jeff Keller
Touchdown.
on the offensive line.
65.
It looks like another promising prospect. You don't find a lot of sophomores out there, DJ, that are 6'5", 250.
Yeah, but he's been in the system for a very long time. Coach Kedrick Williams saw his eyes and said, all right, I got to keep this kid in my program. You don't want him going out west. But he is somebody that can be a staple of this team, especially as they start to build. Coach Scott Etzel will definitely coach him up in the future. But I think Kennedy right now has to be careful. They're doing a lot of catch blocking. What I mean by that is they're catching the blocks. They need to go and be aggressive and fight.
Zesh back to the air. This one on target to Hanspard for a pretty nice gainer of a dozen. They get the penalty yardage back, and a nice shot of confidence for Zach Zesh to fire that slant route on target.
This is a staple of any offense. You got to be able to hit the slant. Amarian Hanspard, those are balls he can catch. Remember, we talked about it earlier. They had to get that timing fixed. So they go over to the sideline, they talk it up, and there you go. Amarian Hanspard in the slot here again.
Second catch for Amarian Hanspard. Second down and 8 for Kennedy. On the move, Zesh lofts it perfectly. Caught by Hanspard, out of bounds with a first down.
Now they're gaining a little bit of chemistry. See, amazing what positive thinking does. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I know about Mr. Hanspard. A while ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, he would have been so negative you couldn't put him back on the field. Kudos to Amarian right now, being a senior leader. Look at him high-fiving. Right now, this is what you call the scramble drill. Nobody open. You keep your feet running. He was going to throw it. Now I got my eyes downfield. I see an open guy. Now we're going to catch it at his highest point. Those are all positive, successful plays.
The Washburn player shaken up. I thought that might be a little bit, at first look, a little bit too high for Amarian, but he leapt up and grabbed it and then gained some more yards all the way down to the 7-yard line for Kennedy.
But plays are plays. Players make plays. If you're a player, you know, there's certain things that a coach cannot coach you on. Is having the aggression to say, all right, this is an opportunity. And the best teams have players on their team that do those things. They don't have to wait for the coach to teach them how to catch a ball, especially at this level. You go reach it. A while ago, remember that ball in the end zone? He let the ball drop. This one, he goes to the highest point, and he catches the touchdown. I mean, excuse me, actually, they're on the 8. Forgive me.
We'll hand it off. Up the middle, Alasani got positive yards to the, might mark him as close to the 3-yard line. So gain of 4 for Kennedy. So we're under 2 minutes.
Be interesting to see what kind of play they dial up here. We have not seen them this close to the goal line yet this season or yet this game.
Well, they've got the power formations available. Choosing to spread them out here with 4 wide. Alasani, the only back. Sneak for Zesh, finds room on the edge, and has the touchdown.
So far, Zesh got the 2 touchdowns on offense. 1 throwing, 1 rushing.
Let's see if he's okay, favoring an ankle perhaps.
Oh, trust me, you get to that sideline, you're going to feel fine.
Always helps when that you get nicked up, but you fall into the end zone. First rushing touchdown for Zesh. May have been on that last cut. They've twisted it a bit. But Zesh, 1 on the ground to go along with his passing touchdown in the first half. Point after. Avila's Rizzo is good.
I'm just excited. Look how many different players made this touchdown available. You had the run by Monroe. You had a couple runs or inside runs by Deion Barber. You had Deion Sherwood carry. You had the sophomore, what's his name?
Alasani.
Alasani carry the ball. You had Amarian Hanspard get 2 receptions. That goes. Do you see what I'm saying?
It does seem like there are more options available for Kennedy offensively this year.
It makes it much harder to play against a team that is going to be so open to being able to give the ball to so many different players. And it keeps you fresh, you know. And think about the sacrifice that you have to make. You have to say, if you're Deion Barber, you have to say, well, I'm not going to get 25 carries a game. But if the opportunity presents it and they call my number, I have to be ready to make a play. You know, if I'm, you know, Chris Martin, who is probably one of the bigger kids on the team, I have to be able to go out there and go in motion and make a block. You know, they are building the building blocks to be successful in the future, and it comes from just being the best team that they can be.
David Aviles Rizzo, I believe he's the younger brother of Eric, with the kick. Returned by Washburn. Mason Willie, who had that pick six for them back in the first half, scampers out of bounds near the 40. They'll mark him out at the 37-yard line.
A very physical last drive for them. As we see on this kick here, getting to the edge, finding blockers. Kennedy doing a good job of not allowing this thing to be a huge play. The ball will be placed just a little, let me see, the 37. But the Millers, so physical, so dominant on the ground. You'd like to see a little bit more of that.
Well, they're going to be one of the favorites in the Twin City Conference. Of course, Minneapolis North probably the favorite there, but Washburn not too far behind. Jamar Nelson ran over with a flag down. Dion Barber was in there as well as Victor Cabrera, number 62.
Outside run here, little wildcat. Look at the contain, the pursuit.
Nice hit by Cabrera. Actually, that was Servel Miller.
Holding, number 50 of White. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, and we'll replay. First down.
You got to be careful. They like to use Servel in passing opportunities in the quarterback position as well. They'll put them in that wildcat. I don't think they're going to show it the first game, but they have that in their playbook to be able to throw the ball.
First and long, fake the handoff to Lee. Gottsman shows you the athletic ability, his second carry, but his first one since the opening drive. And you encouraged him to do that a little bit more, and it worked out there for a nice gain.
That is the third option to that RPO, and you have to keep him honest. The biggest thing he needs to do is gain the yards and get down on the ground. As you can see, it's a fake. He sees it. There's nothing there. Get down on the ground. Protect yourself. Protect your team.
12 yards there, so he gets the penalty yardage back, +2, 2nd and 8. Final minute here, third quarter. Doesn't really feel like Kennedy should be down by 3 touchdowns, but they are thanks to 2 pick sixes by Washburn. Handoff Lee, heading upfield, Ramon Lee. Having himself a very nice second half. He's bumped out at midfield with a first down gain of 13.
He is so physical, especially at the point of attack. You get some linemen up to the next level to touch somebody, but he is a very tough person to guard up there at the next level. You have to bring it. So that's some good pad level getting underneath them. First down, Millers.
86 yards for Lee on just 8 carries. Final play of the third quarter. A little bit of a low snap. They shovel it to Jamar Nelson, and he's taken down for no gain. So we've reached the end of 3 here at Bloomington Stadium. Minneapolis Washburn, after a 6-2 season last year, trying to start it off on the right foot again, leading 41-20.
Trying to get to the outside. Little slippage. Might need some new cleats.
Well, the field's about in as good of condition as you're ever going to see in October.
Right. I'm not going to blame. I was going to say I'm not blaming the field.
No.
You might need some new cleats, or as my coach would say, if you slipped and you seen it on film, he'd look at me and say, "What happened?" I don't know, Coach. I slipped. He say, "Don't slip." Honest, I don't know how to coach that. Just be an athlete. You see a lot of kids now, they don't have the ability to keep their feet underneath them. That's why you do your ladder work. Oh, they're kicking it.
They're maintaining social distancing. They're outside of the fence there. There's some more. It's such a beautiful night, DJ. Why not take advantage of it? You're outside.
Sometimes, you know, especially if it's a touchdown, sometimes those are the best seats.
You want to make sure you're as safe as possible. So it's great to see as many people as feel comfortable out here without too many showing up.
I'm going to send a shout out. We see Jake Houston in the stands.
There you go.
You can't miss him.
Wouldn't he have been on, like to been on that fly route back in the first half on that shot in the end zone? Here's a pass. Gottsman in and out of the hands of Servell Miller. May have been deflected by Marquez Monroe. It's incomplete, 3rd and long upcoming.
They're putting that spot RPO on film a lot, and it seems to be that they are only running it to the right side. The read is if you get an opportunity to pull it, the quarterback can run it or throw it to the spot route just sitting there. It's open. Maybe he can just set his feet and just throw the ball, but that could give Marquez Monroe an opportunity to spy it.
3rd and 10, Gottsman, middle shot! Juggled and could not be caught by Miller. That was through a bunch of traffic, but it looked to be on target.
I got to give credit to this defense, these safeties. First of all, the linebackers are getting into their drops. You see that, Deion Barber getting there, that's athletic. And then the safeties are doing a pretty good job of just waiting and reading the eyes of the quarterback. So you got to give credit to this defense.
I mean, could there be two more exciting and promising safeties on the same team than Rajon Walker and Marquez Monroe? Here's a low snap, and breaking a couple of tackles is Carnicorn, but he's not going to quite make the first down.
Good job, Jesse.
He did the best he could. Jesse Falk hung on for dear life and made the 4th down stop for Kennedy.
Yes, those are plays that can eat. I've been on the sideline, and you look at it, and next thing you know, those plays turn into first downs for the other team. So the hustle and the experience by Jesse Falk to be able to get this guy on the ground. He did play defense last year.
And he's still contributing. It has to be a tough moment for him to get the start at quarterback today and throw a couple of interceptions, but give number 15 credit here on a key 4th down. Look at that hustle, and brought down Carnicorn in time.
Senior leadership, and I don't think he's done yet on offense. They'll find a way for him to contribute.
So Kennedy gets it back, and room on the left side for Alasani.
If the linemen can get up to the next level, they're doing a very good job at the point of attack. But with that zone, when you get the double team, somebody has to release and get up to the next level. All the guys that are making the plays for the Millers are linebackers or corners or safeties. So if you can get one of those guys to get up to the next level and make a hat-on-a-hat block, those plays go for 6, or at least for big plays.
Sherwood jumping forward, only gained about a yard.
I'm so impressed with how hard to tackle he is.
You kind of go to grab him, and he just kind of moves sideways, shifts enough, and you're almost grabbing for air. Kennedy's got such a great variety of backs, DJ. You talk about Sherwood, he's kind of that scat back. Alasani's kind of more that traditional size of a running back that you're looking for in a 5'8", 5'9" guy, 185, and then you got the barreling bowling ball of Deion Barber.
And imagine when they figure out exactly what they want to do with all these guys. They're not even there yet.
Important 3rd down for Kennedy. They've got momentum right now. It's a 3rd and medium, and the Eagles are going to take their first time out of the second half.
Their first charge timeout.
We're looking at a 3rd and 4. You know, they had success throwing the slant earlier.
I want to, DJ, during this timeout, I want to thank our volunteer crew, our producer for football back again, Paul Fournier. So glad that he's back. Wasn't in the works, but then 2020 hit. So does such a great job for BEC-TV, of course, led by Tom Ringdahl. And our volunteer crew, they do not have to be here, but they love making television so much, not just sports, but all of our programming on BEC-TV. And they are doing an outstanding job covering now our first football game, but we've made it through soccer, and all of our camera operators and staff, you know who you are out there. Great job by everybody. 3rd and 4 for Kennedy. And this one's tipped. Looked like it was promising as Lavelle Miller was open, but a nice job by Washburn to bat that down. I think it was Dickel again, and it forces the 4th down.
Yes, Washburn bringing pressure off the edge. Sometimes you just don't have enough guys.
Actually, it wasn't Dickel. Dickel provided the pressure as Tucker Hansen, who got his big paw up there. Looked like Miller was open for the 1st down, and now Kennedy will go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, you got to go for it here. You don't have anything to lose.
Yeah, this is certainly the right decision at midfield, or just about, for Kennedy. 1st, 4th down. Zesh, low snap, gets the throw off, and it's behind his target. And that low snap kind of threw off the timing of everybody there. The pass was a little late as a result, and the Millers take over on 4th down.
Young quarterbacks, if you can watch this, you're going to understand when they show the highlights and you get the chance to see this throw. When you're throwing slants in those intermediate routes, especially to your left, if you're a right-hander, the ball's going to go where your feet goes. So you watch Zach, when he made that throw, his outside foot takes the ball way outside. And where did the ball go? It went behind the receiver. If he stands up tall and he steps on him or he steps in front of it, he can put the ball in the window. You got more power to push off that back foot, use your hip, and throw downhill.
Kennedy making a late sub. Keller running in there quickly. Sidearm delivery by Gottsman. Not normally a sidearm guy, but had to. He was under pressure. Pretty nice little savvy play there by the senior as it's complete to Kai Buford for a pickup of 4.
Kennedy with some subs out there. That's a good, well-placed ball. These are balls that he's going to, late in the season, he's going to complete more of.
Kennedy blitzing on 2nd and 6. Gottsman pulls it out. Tuckson wants to run. Hauled down in kind of an awkward tackle, but gets up quickly. Short of the 1st down. Pickup of 4. 3rd and 2 coming. Like to see Kennedy's defense rise up here, get a stop. They may have to get through a 4th down as well.
Look for a blitz here by Kennedy.
They're expecting run. Lee is in there. They're bigger back. They'll pass. And an open target, Servell Miller. That's the benefit of Washburn. You have all these senior receivers and a senior quarterback on a 3rd and 2. They're not afraid to throw one into the air when everybody's thinking run.
Well, it's the leverage. The corners are playing off so much. You got to be able to throw that hitch.
Is there a turnover at the end of this play? Kennedy's trying to lobby. Servell Miller. It's ripped away right there. Marquez Monroe has it.
I'm saying they're playing
Clearly
hard.
for Kennedy.
Yeah, that is.
Oh my goodness.
That's a tough call right there.
Can we walk the refs up here to look at this replay, please? That certainly looked like that came out before forward progress was stopped.
Yes.
But it's just so hard to see. There's about 20 guys not following social distancing guidelines in that pileup, DJ. Almost impossible to see that.
They're doing the best that they can.
It certainly looked like it should be Kennedy football there, unfortunately.
But could you imagine that play isn't even – we don't even question that if they're not giving effort.
Right.
If they're not going out there and it's 41-20, you're down all those points, and you could – Kennedy teams in the past have done everything but continue to play hard. But Kedrick Williams has found a button to push to make these guys just continue to play hard.
Now look at this one more time here. You'll see, actually it wasn't Miller, it was Wheeler, still moving forward, and
that
ripped away by Marquez Monroe.
Deion Barber sees it immediately, presses the mind, yes.
Should be a Kennedy turnover, and unfortunately Monroe does not get rewarded for his hard effort there.
Please, somebody send that into the high school league.
Well, I'll talk to Kedrick Williams on Tuesday on Inside Kennedy Football. We'll call that a turnover for Marquez.
He's got to get that one.
Meanwhile, Washburn keeps it. They're inside the 25 as they work on this fourth quarter clock. Well, you just look back at total yards is going to be somewhat equal in this game. DJ, obviously we still have a bit of ways to go, but the 2 pick sixes for Kennedy, that bobbled fourth down snap by Washburn back in the first half that they turned into a touchdown, that turnover possibly right there. Those plays turn around in Kennedy's favor. It's a much different game right now.
Yeah, are we afraid to say that maybe quite possibly this could be a totally different story, a different game if we don't make those mistakes and throw the interceptions for a touchdown?
Lumen Kamoji is going to have to come off for a play. Things getting chippy now a bit now, especially after that, what Kennedy thought should have been a turnover, and I think they were correct in thinking that. We have a Miller player injured in the meantime.
Yeah, this looks like he's grabbing at his hamstring.
Jamar Nelson, such a key player for them. We've seen him as a receiver. Obviously, as a running back, he had a pick 6 earlier in this half. It's one of those key difference makers the Millers are hoping for as they try to make a run against Minneapolis North in the Twin City District. Not going to be easy, but they're going to need their full complement of players, and he's one of their key guys.
Yes, you got to think about the future. You're up over 20 points. You don't want to get an injury. You don't want to have a kid, he's a senior. You don't want to have him lose the rest of his season and quite possibly, even longer on a game that you probably have well in hand. I'm pretty sure there's a guy on the sideline over there just itching to give an opportunity to play. And that's where, you got to give credit to this Kennedy Eagles coaching staff. Obviously the Millers, they knew who they were going in. They were the more experienced team. They have guys on there that can play at the next level. But you just throw your team in there and you say, let's swim.
Gottsman rolls out, plenty of time, floats it toward the corner, and it's caught for a touchdown. What a catch by Jamarian Wheeler, his 3rd touchdown of the game. That looked like I was ready to make my interception call for Kennedy, but Wheeler, heck of a catch. There is a flag down. Watch Wheeler high point this.
This is going to be a touchdown. It's just a little jarring. As you can see at the end, you got the game in hand and you're stepping over guys. We're not doing that. Yeah, you got to be lucky enough that we're playing football. We don't have to do that.
Not the right look there.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Ryan Galindo would agree. He's had a heck of a game too, Wheeler, now with 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, his game is speaking for himself. The ball's it's confidence over cockiness.
That play speaks for itself. You don't need to do anything else but, run off the field after making a tremendous play.
He made an outstanding play. The ball's in the air. You showed your dominance by making the play. That's where you showed your dominance. Now, what did you show afterwards? What did that show you? What did that make you? What did that teach you? Did that give you an extra recruiting point? Did that give you an extra star that you could stand over somebody? It didn't do anything for you.
They'd cut off that part of the highlight before they posted it on Huddle, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I don't want to slam a kid. I'm not here to slam a kid that obviously is going out there and playing a game that he loves.
2 dead ball fouls with sportsmanlike conduct on number 7 of Washburn.
He pointed at
15-yard penalty will be enforced on the ensuing kickoff. And we have another dead ball foul on sportsmanlike conduct, number 7 of Washburn. That will also be tagged on to the ensuing kickoff. We'll now have a try for point from the 3-yard line.
And it's not going to hurt them in this game, DJ, but down the line, a 30-yard penalty with 2 15 yards tacked on consecutively. That kind of a play could come back to bite them in future games.
Coach Ryan, I'm sure he'll take the 6 points. See, when you got a player, sometimes you're like, hey, man, I let my guy be a little, a little fiery. But like you said, you don't want those plays to add up to where it hurts you, and like I said, I'm not here to put down a kid that's playing a game that he loves. You're going to see a play like that on a playground somewhere, and they're
Washburn
jarring.
will kick off from the 10-yard line.
Yeah, but imagine if this game was closer.
Kennedy's free kick line is the 20.
Imagine if they're playing against, North, and you get
He jukes out Davon Townley and then trash talks him because he's a D1 recruit.
Yeah, and you get so caught up in your emotions, you get so caught up in the moment that you're not poised enough to say, all right, look, all right, I made the play. Let's go celebrate with our team. I mean, I saw a play on film, I think it was on Instagram, where a guy legitimately jogged backwards. No, it was on ESPN. He was jogging backwards. There was no flag, though. There was no flag, and the guy ran into the end zone backwards. Wow, look where they're kicking from.
This kickoff will be from the 10.
Can you onside kick from me? Would that be smart?
I wouldn't, but this is 2020. Kennedy's dual deep return men are almost at midfield. They're being told to move up even more.
Yeah, I would just move everybody up and block. You got to get yards.
I don't know that I've ever seen a kickoff from the 10.
Never.
Pretty darn good one. Fielded, though, by Alisani. Alisani stepped out of a tackle. That's to the 41. For a sophomore, this kid has some strength.
His pads right now don't do him justice. He is a cut-up kid for his age. As you can see, he's kicking this thing from the 10. Pretty strong as well for his size. Spinning around, keeping his feet running.
See if Kennedy can get in the end zone one more time here. Jesse Falk back in. You were right, DJ. Not done on offense. Handoff. And it's Dion Barber to the 40, gain of 1.
He has the ability to run with the football. He is that second option on the zone read to be able to keep it and gain yards. He did it a little earlier. As you see right here, here's the give. I'd like to see him keep his eyes on that defensive end and maybe ride it out just a little second and then carry out his fake. Because if he carries out that fake, it's something that they have to honor.
Second and 9.
There it is.
Falk dropped the ball, then picked it up and got blown up by Lee. Somehow hung on to it and picked up 2, but he paid the price.
That's the play we were looking for, though. That's exactly what we were looking for. Yep, just got to get that pocket open. The reason why that ball fumbles is because the running back has to get his pocket open a little bit bigger. If you're grabbing for that ball, you're going to get fumbles.
Third down for Kennedy. Falk to the air, arcs it perfectly over the head of the linebacker, Hansen, for a first down. And how about that for Falk? Both of his earlier pass attempts were picked. That one on target. Kennedy moves the chains.
Right, he's wiping his hands off a little bit, saying it slipped. Might be a little nervous or still shaking up from that hit that he took. But after, you get hit, you take one of the toughest hits you probably ever had in your career, and then you get back up and you throw a completion.
Well, there's 5 more games here at Bloomington Stadium. I don't know if we're going to see a harder hitter than Ramon Lee Jr. against Bloomington teams. Number 32 in white he can lay the lumber. Kennedy back to the ground. Barber. Not much there as we're midway through this fourth quarter now.
Washburn seeming to leave the middle of the field open. If you got a guy like Amarian or Deion Hanspard that can get to the middle of the field, as you can see, they're doing a really good job on pursuit, getting Deion Barber on the ground. Might be able to get between the safeties. If you have a play action or RPO or a pop of some sorts that can creep these safeties and these linebackers up, get your receivers free for a touchdown. A lot of trips, 10 personnel formations right now for Kennedy.
2nd and 10, Falk to throw. Caught by Zaire Marshall and hit immediately by Carnicorn.
He might be shaken up.
Carnicorn just saw this developing.
Did they call that a catch?
They did. It was actually incomplete. So a little break for Kennedy. They'd rather have the one that goes for a turnover than a 2-yard gain, though, go their way.
Yeah.
But 3rd down nonetheless for the Eagles.
Ace bunch formation here for Kennedy.
Sherwood in the backfield. Fake the handoff to him. Slant route and off target. Marshall. Looked like a bit of a miscommunication there.
Yeah, but I see where the quarterback, I see where Jesse was thinking. He's throwing to the open spot there where, you know, the slot there is kind of going into the defense. So I see where he's coming. The thing you got to be very careful of is you've been lofting that ball up so much. You might as well just put the ball on the receiver and let him catch it and run for it.
That route by Marshall, a bit shallow, or at least shallower than Falk thought it would be.
And we're trying to get the first down here. You know, you run a route that shallow, you're not going to get the first down.
4th and 7, empty backfield. Falk, 4-man rush, steps up, fires end zone, looking for Dojan, but it sails out of bounds, and Kennedy turns it over on downs.
Not the ideal one-on-one you want. They're backing off. Amarian Hanspard was running in the middle of the field. Dojan does have the size, but I don't know if he has the athletic ability to go up there and catch that ball. Not really a well-placed ball. You got to keep that ball in bounds. You know, he could be that's a Gronk play where you got a guy that can just shield off a guy and score it for a touchdown.
Right, there's one on 4th down. You want to err on the side of it's inbounds. Even if it's intercepted, it's not the worst result.
Yeah.
You'd actually have the opponent actually lose yardage as they get it at the 20 instead of the 30. But learning moments for Kennedy late here in this one. Washburn poised to move to 1-0. It's going to be a very similar score to last year. It was 47-21.
Now I think they're both kind of like, even though they're both different teams, we've seen both teams do well in some areas. You know, the score last year didn't really tell the story, and I don't think the score this year tells much of the story either. It's big plays made by Washburn.
It was 4 turnovers last year, 3 this year.
Washburn.
But when 2 of those 3 are direct touchdowns, meaning this year pick sixes, that's just 14 points up on the board without making Washburn earn those points after the turnover. Millers have called a timeout.
And like we said, the mistakes that they're making are teachable mistakes. They're not effort mistakes. It's not like, you know, a kid gave up on a play. You know, they're just maybe small mental mistakes. You know,
we haven't seen the missed tackling, that kind of thing for Kennedy either. It's been pretty sound in that department.
I'm very impressed with the tackling. I am very impressed with the tackling.
Well, our next football game, Jefferson will be at home. It's a Thursday game next week, a little bit of an earlier game. There's been a shortage of high school officials because of the pandemic. Games have had to be shuffled around on different days. So Jefferson Thursday next week will take on Apple Valley right here at Bloomington Stadium, 7 o'clock start. We'll have it for you on BEC-TV. And off for Washburn, Ramon Lee Jr. continues his excellent night, now over 100 yards, as he's ushered out at the 48-yard line on a gain of 25.
I would beg Coach to make this his curtain call.
Right?
Here it is as he
There he
jogs.
goes.
Yeah, make this his curtain call. He's a strong, ferocious runner. But, you know, the game is in hand, and we got some tougher games coming up soon.
Upcoming for Washburn, they have St. Paul Johnson, Minneapolis Southwest, Minneapolis South, and then the big, or actually that was last year. Excuse me, I'm reading last year's schedule. Kennedy's upcoming schedule, they have Richfield next week. We'll see them back at home. Another kind of funky game time. It's a Saturday, October 24th, a 1 o'clock start here at Bloomington Stadium. We'll have it for you on BEC-TV. Kennedy's next home game against Minneapolis Southwest.
I don't think traditionally, I think that 1 o'clock Saturday game is pretty traditional for the Richfield.
Well, that's for the Southwest game. The Richfield game next week is on Friday, October 16th. You're right, though. The last couple of games at Richfield have been played on that Saturday.
As you can see here, it gets high. Kennedy doing a very good job of getting in there and making the tackle, getting the running back down on the ground.
We'd normally be wrapping up our seasons next Wednesday.
Wow.
MEA week next week in the state of Minnesota. It's traditionally the last football game played on a Wednesday, so we're nearly starting the season normally when we end the regular season in this crazy year.
And with some good weather right now.
Just over 3 minutes left. Third down for Washburn. Such a promising year for them with all those pieces back. It's unfortunate that it was actually a fumble recovered by Washburn, by Mason Willie. But it's unfortunate for the Millers that all this great talent returning, their regular season cut short. And no state tournament either. Now 4th down and 6. Gottsman hands it off. Willie trying to use that speed, but he won't get to the corner. Christopher Martin, cuts him off. It's been kind of a quiet night for Martin, at least defensively. You've seen him a lot in blocking on the offensive line / tight end. There he makes a play, gets Kennedy the football back.
Yeah, I think they did a pretty good job of putting a body on him. Or, I mean, we might want to go back and look at film and just see whether or not he's engaged, or whether or not that's where a coach will look at it and say, well, I didn't hear your number called. Is it you just didn't have the motor that we're looking for, or did they just outblock you? I think they probably just did a pretty good job on him and wanted to key in on him. I don't think he's a guy that has totally understood his full potential yet, but once he gets there, he's going to be a very, very tough kid to handle.
He had that great section playoff game against Richfield last winter, just before everything shut down, scoring 16 points.
Washburn, your second charge timeout of the second half.
One more chance here for Kennedy on offense. We mentioned this is likely the most difficult opponent Kennedy will face on paper, DJ, so I'm really encouraged. The rest of the schedule, what Kennedy can do, there's going to be some win opportunities out there. Columbia Heights will be a bit of a tougher game, maybe Bound West Tonka, but you look at the next three, Richfield, Minneapolis Southwest, St. Croix Lutheran, a chance for Kennedy to really build some momentum.
And Coach Kedrick Williams understands that. You know, that's why he said this first game, I want to just throw everything up against the wall. This has to be my scrimmage, is what he told me. This has to be my scrimmage. Who knows what can happen within these next three games, but if I don't get those guys experience, then we're trying to use the next 3 games to figure that out. So I believe that this is that something special can happen in these next 3 games that we have not seen in a long time.
Zach Zesch back in at quarterback. He wants to throw under pressure. It looked like it was going to be maybe a strip sack by 52 Isaiah Henderson, but give Zesch some credit. He kind of outran him and turned it into a positive gain.
Yeah, he was a little bit of a blur right there. I was really thinking he was going to get sacked. Not to be negative, I I did not
It
see
just
him making
looked
it.
that way.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to hit the – maybe it's because he was looking downfield so much. He does a really good job of keeping his eyes downfield, and then he just turned on the jets late.
Pick up a 5, 2nd and 5. Zesh underneath route, Hanspard has the catch, has a first down at the 40. Let's see if Kennedy goes a little bit up tempo, maybe treats this kind of like a game not really in doubt, but maybe treats this like an end of the game when you need a score to tie or win, something like that, 2-minute drill.
They are not calling plays through guys. They're calling plays through their wristband. They are huddling. It's kind of a loose huddle.
And he picks up the tempo here for this first
should be a
down.
penalty.
Zesh. Middle, got Hanspard. Down to the 33, gain of 7.
That was a good presence of mind by the quarterback to call the play before they could get a guy off.
And Kennedy calls a timeout.
I don't believe so. It should be.
Okay.
Nope, this should be a penalty. Too many men on the field for Washburn.
I did not see the flag. It's in the secondary of Washburn.
That's what I'm saying. I think Kennedy did a very good job of trying to hurry up and get that play called before they could get Washburn can get off the field. Nelson didn't get off the field.
Yeah, dead ball foul, illegal substitution.
Yep.
On the defense, it would be a 5-yard penalty, and we'll replay first down.
So
Zesh looks very confident and calm right now in that pocket.
he's had some issues with snaps, which has kind of thrown his timing off in a few of his throws. This snap on target. Zesh steps up, fires toward the
That's
end
tough.
zone. It's going to be intercepted. Again by the Millers, their 4th pick. Trying for their 3rd pick 6. It won't happen.
I just think that was Zesh trying to just force something that wasn't there. If
Yep.
you read coverage, the safeties were sitting there looking for it. He had Deion Barber as his check down, and you just don't see those things when you're a first-year starter or a first-year quarterback. You won't see it until you look at the film.
And there hasn't been a lot of 2-deep safety coverage that he's faced in this game, so 4th turnover to match their number from last year against Minneapolis. Washburn kind of tells the same story as they did a year ago. Now Washburn can run out the clock. Stick around. Following the game, we'll have highlights, some final thoughts from this one. DJ and I up top. We'll keep our distance socially in our press box. So stick around here. Post-game show coming up next on BEC-TV.
Timeout, Kennedy.
Don't think Kennedy had all the right personnel they wanted to out there, so they will use their 2nd timeout of the first half.
Yeah, as you can see, if you look off to the side, well, you can't really see it, but yes, he's trying to force it there. Bit of a slip.
Yeah, the pass was a little underthrown, and Marshall had to try to make a quick cut to try to get over there, and when he did, couldn't quite complete the play.
Yeah, that's just a play that he'll look on film and he'll say, you know, that's my mistake. I threw that up. There was no reason for me to throw that up in the air. They had a corner and a safety there. The open guy was Deion Barber in the flat.
Miller's trying to run out the clock. And it's Mason Willie with a first down.
The other thing I don't think we brought up quite is, you know, I haven't heard much from Isaac Grams. I don't know if he played tonight. I don't even know.
I saw him in there earlier in the first quarter. Certainly something to keep our eye on, though.
Yeah, he's an outstanding player. And when they find a spot for him and what he can do, it's going to be pretty good.
Gottsman is still in there, by the way, at quarterback. Their only other quarterback listed on their roster is Vinnie Morton. He's a sophomore. And right now, really, Gottsman just handing it off anyway, not a lot of risk. Good open field tackle there. Elijah Smith for Kennedy. 5'6", sophomore, number 13, with his first tackle. Playing pretty much everybody.
Yeah, I think everybody got on the field tonight. It's not the normal, even both teams, I don't think you see the normal, 52-man roster. It's a bit different. COVID is challenging us in ways that we can't understand, but kudos to both teams stepping up to the plate tonight. I'm just glad that we're seeing high school football.
Amid the pandemic, in this crazy year, these teams were able to get out on the field and play the sport they love. Not going to be Kennedy's night. Washburn going to be 1-0. They ended Kennedy's regular season last year with a loss, 49-21, or 47-21. And they do it again to start 2020, 48-20. Millers 1-0, Kennedy 0-1. As we look at highlights from this one, from Bloomington Stadium, it was the Millers early on. Ramon Lee Jr. went over 100 yards, got into the end zone. This guy flashed a couple times. Rajon Walker breaking about 25 tackles, DJ.
He will be a star in the future if he continues to work hard, gets in the weight room. He's going to be one of those guys you're going to look out for.
Zach Zesh, he had some really nice moments. This wasn't one of them. One of 2 pick sixes. Jamar Nelson takes this all the way back.
Yeah, when you got athletes on the field like this, don't throw it to him, throw it to your team.
Big plays, a story for Washburn. 2 pick sixes, 2 50-yard pass plays. Here's another great return from Kennedy. Marquez Monroe showing you what he can do. Special teams was kind of a highlight for Kennedy, even with week 1.
I think that's going to be, like I said, an ace in the back pocket for the Kennedy Eagles going forward.
Rushing touchdown there for Zach Zesh to cap the Kennedy scoring, and then what should have been a turnover by Marquez Monroe. You could understand why maybe they didn't see it or blew it dead. It was close, probably should have been Kennedy ball, and then Washburn takes advantage. Jamarian Wheeler, one of 3 touchdown catches for him, as the Millers win this one 48-20. Some big plays for them as they move to 1-0. We'll take a short break and be back for more thoughts here on the postgame. Stick around on BEC-TV.
Why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others.
For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
Back on the post-game show here on BEC-TV alongside DJ Moffett, Josh Powers. 48-20. Minneapolis Washburn wins this one. They improved to 1-0. DJ, we figured this would be a tough game for Kennedy given everything that Washburn brought back from a year ago, and those weapons certainly paid off for them.
High firepower weapons. You knew what they were going to bring to the table. The Millers just do what they do best. I feel like they're going to be a formidable team to beat in the future. You know that they're going to really compete in the Twin City section or conference.
And you look at the statistics defensively, facing all that firepower for Kennedy, they allow just 179 passing yards, 208 rushing yards, but on 32 attempts. All in all, I think Kennedy did a pretty good job bottling up Washburn, save for a couple big plays, those 250-yard plus pass plays, and then you had the 2 pick sixes. Obviously, that's not on the defense either.
Yeah, Coach Williams said he was just going to focus on his own team, and I think it worked pretty well, minus the big plays and maybe some mistakes by the quarterback. You don't get those points on the board if that doesn't happen. So you like the game plan that he came in with. If you're the Millers, you say, well, we got to find those easy plays. We didn't make those easy plays, but late in the game, in the second half, they did find a way to run the football, so that worked for them.
And I think offensively for Kennedy, I think the story we learned through week one, they seem to have more weapons available this year than maybe in years past, and I think the numbers kind of bear that out. Much more balance for Kennedy, 121 rushing yards, 117 passing yards. You'd like those numbers to be a little bit higher, but I think Kennedy showed the balance tonight that can help them in games coming up this year.
The balance makes them hard to be scouted against next week. So if you're Richfield, you're looking at this game and saying, well, what are they going to do? The advancement from a good team is usually from week 1 to week 2. I think this is a good team. I think Coach Williams is going to be patient with this group, and it's going to be exciting to see what they bring to the table next week.
There's some exciting young players, too, for Kennedy. We've talked about Marquez Monroe. He's now in his second year, but he's only a sophomore. There's some guys, that sophomore class, junior class, guys that when I watch the huddle back, or even when I was watching live tonight when I talked to Kedrick on Tuesday, it's going to get me pretty excited about where this team can go.
Yeah, Alisani, to me, was the guy that kind of poked out a little bit the most. In the first half, they put something on his plate. He had 5 carries. He had about, I think it was about 30-some yards rushing. You know, it's going to be interesting to see where they place him. You also got guys like Rajon
Walker.
Rajon Walker, to me, is going to be one of those guys. It's just pure athlete. You're going to put him out at wideout. Are you going to put him at tailback? Are you going to put him at a tight end or a wing? There's endless opportunities for this Kennedy Eagles football team to be able to grow offensively.
Well, I enjoyed it, my friend. It's unusual. We're up here wearing Kennedy face masks. A year ago, I would have never dreamed that was possible, but it was just fun to broadcast this game. It was fun to see the players for both sides and the families that were able to watch or even be here. It was just fun to get back to some semblance of normalcy in this this unprecedented year and cover this Kennedy football team tonight.
I love football. I probably wouldn't be here talking to you guys if it wasn't for football. I'll tell you what, the ability for high school football to sit down at the table and say, how can we do this? Are we going to do it correctly? And guess what? We played a football game here tonight, and everybody is presumably safe, so we want to keep that going. So everybody, please do your part.
Absolutely. Programming reminder, Monday night, Kennedy boys soccer playoff, first round, 7 o'clock, live on BEC-TV. Yes, it's a postseason. We are able to carry that live, so tune in for that. We've got Inside Kennedy football on Tuesday, Inside Jefferson football also on Tuesday night, live on BEC-TV. And then our first look at the Jaguar boys. They'll be in action next Thursday night against Apple Valley, 7 o'clock start here at Bloomington Stadium. Football is back here on BEC-TV. It was Washburn's night, though. They win at 48-20. For our entire crew, for DJ Moffett, this is Josh Powers saying good night from Bloomington Stadium.